The dream reality paradox. What if dreams are alternate realities that your consciousness visits while your body rests? When we drift into sleep and the conscious mind releases its grip on waking life, we enter a world so strange, so vividly detailed, that it defies the logic we rely on during the day. In this dreamscape, we encounter people we haven't thought about in years. We walk through landscapes that seem impossibly familiar, and we experience emotions that echo into our waking hours. But what if these dreams are not just internal hallucinations crafted by a resting brain? What if, instead, dreams are doorways, portals through which our consciousness slips into alternate realities, sampling lives that exist in parallel to our own? This idea isn't entirely foreign. In fact, many cultures and philosophies have long believed that dreams are more than illusions. In ancient Egypt, dreams were seen as a gateway to divine insight, a realm where souls could wander and converse with the gods. Tibetan Buddhism teaches the practice of dream yoga, where lucid dreaming becomes a tool to navigate different dimensions of awareness. Even in modern science fiction, the concept of multiverses, realities that run alongside ours, each with its own version of truth, has gained traction. If time and space are not as fixed as we assume, if the universe is not singular but many-layered, then the notion of visiting other lives while we sleep may not be as implausible as it first sounds. Imagine that each time you sleep, your consciousness detaches from this reality and anchors itself in another. In that world, perhaps you are someone else entirely, living out a different path, shaped by choices you never made here. Maybe in one reality, you never moved away from your childhood town. In another, you pursued the dream you gave up on. The emotional intensity of some dreams, the raw joy, the searing fear, the deep connection with someone who shouldn't be there, might be more than just symbols. They could be echoes of lived moments in these alternate selves, seeping into your current awareness like a message passed between parallel dimensions. The strange familiarity we sometimes feel in dreams might also make sense through this lens. You may have never seen that city before, never walked those streets in waking life, yet you navigate them with certainty. You may meet strangers whose names you somehow know, whose energy feels like home. How can that be explained by mere random neuron firings? If dreams are portals, then that familiarity is not fabricated, it's remembered. It's recognition from another life your consciousness has slipped into, a life that continues on even after you wake, like a television show whose episodes you catch only when your waking self is asleep. There is also the curious phenomenon of recurring dreams. People report visiting the same strange places over the span of years, even decades. These places are consistent in layout, mood, and memory, as if they were real locations rather than invented scenes. If the mind were generating these dreams randomly, it would be statistically unlikely to produce such consistency. But if dreams are access points to alternate realities, then recurring dreams are not repetitive at all. They are check-ins, brief returns to another thread of existence that you live in tandem with this one, guided by some subconscious pull toward unity across dimensions. Let's also consider the way dreams distort time. A dream that feels hours long can occur in mere minutes of real time. But if your consciousness is temporarily linking to a world where time flows differently, this would make perfect sense. What if the hours you feel in a dream are actual hours in another dimension, while only moments pass in this one? That would explain why some dreams leave you feeling exhausted or changed, because your mind didn't merely wander, it lived. It experienced another existence at a different speed, perhaps even undergoing events that shaped you in ways your waking mind cannot easily grasp. In the world of quantum physics, there is increasing evidence that observation alters reality. Some interpretations suggest that all possible outcomes of a decision exist simultaneously in branching universes. If this is true, then there are infinite versions of you living infinite variations of life. But if those lives exist, what barrier separates you from them? Could sleep be the dissolving of that barrier? In a relaxed state, free from the constraints of ego and identity, Your consciousness may become fluid enough to move between versions of itself. Each night, you may return not just to rest, but to reunite with who you are elsewhere. There is a comfort in this idea. If dreams are real in their own right, then perhaps death is not a disappearance, but a transition. Maybe the moment we draw our final breath in this reality, we simply awaken more fully in another. The people we lose here may still exist in dreams, not as mere memories, but as living beings in a dimension where the story took a different turn. That would explain why those we've lost sometimes appear in our dreams, not as figments, but as participants, continuing their journeys with us in realms just beyond reach. Some people have reported having dream lives that feel more vivid, more emotionally rich than their waking life. They wake up weeping, or laughing, or in a state of disorientation, unsure which world is real. Could that be because both are real? Could it be that the soul, or the core of consciousness, is not bound to a single narrative thread? If we are indeed multidimensional beings, then our dreams are not escapes or distractions, they are our other lives, pulsing quietly beyond the veil of this one. Even the erratic, symbolic, or surreal nature of dreams may not contradict this theory. Perhaps the translation between realities is imperfect. Maybe the brain, acting as a receiver, can only interpret glimpses of the other world in metaphor, blending scenes and symbols in ways that confuse the logical mind, but still carry emotional truth. A car crash in a dream might reflect a real event in a parallel world. A flight through the sky might be your other self navigating a realm where gravity works differently. What feels irrational may simply be misunderstood, as if we're watching a movie dubbed in a language we barely know. Lucid dreams may offer a key to understanding this theory more deeply. In a lucid dream, the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming and can begin to manipulate the world within it. But what if this isn't manipulation at all? What if it's the awakening of consciousness in a reality that is already structured, already inhabited? What if the lucid dreamer is not creating the world but merely learning how to navigate it with awareness, like discovering the rules of a new land, not inventing them from scratch? Furthermore, the impact dreams can have on our waking lives cannot be denied. People have woken from dreams and changed careers, ended relationships, written books, painted masterpieces, or discovered scientific insights. How can something imaginary carry such real-world power? Because maybe it isn't imaginary. Maybe the knowledge and experiences gained in alternate lives filter back through the veil, influencing this version of you in profound ways. Inspiration then becomes not invention, but remembrance, retrieving what another you has already lived and known. The fear of nightmares also takes on new depth in this context. If dreams are real, then nightmares might not just be psychological shadows. They might be warnings from other lives, places where danger or conflict reigns. Or they might be trials, much like waking life presents, to be faced and overcome across dimensions. The monsters you flee in sleep may be real to some version of you, and conquering them, even in the quiet hours of night, might echo strength back into your present world in ways you don't yet understand. Of course, we have no concrete proof. Science has yet to detect a mechanism by which consciousness can travel between realities, but absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. The tools of science may not yet be sensitive enough to detect what is subtle and immaterial. After all, for centuries, we couldn't see atoms, couldn't measure time with precision, couldn't fathom gravity's waves. Yet all of these turned out to be real, hidden until we built instruments fine-tuned enough to perceive them. Perhaps one day we will build instruments to measure the soul's wanderings, the mind's dimensional leaps. Until then, we are left with mystery, and that is not a bad thing. In fact, mystery invites humility. It encourages us to look at our dreams not as accidents or noise, but as messages worth listening to. It suggests that sleep is not the end of awareness, but a portal to new beginnings, that every night holds the potential to explore, to reunite, to learn, to feel, to become. So the next time you close your eyes, consider this: you are not going away, you are going elsewhere. And when you wake, you may carry back more than rest. You may carry back the quiet glow of another life, lived just enough to remind you that reality is far bigger than what we see, and that within each dream, there might be a truth too vast for daylight to hold. The ancient light paradox. The stars we see are ancient light, so every night we gaze upon the past while lying in the present. Every evening, as the sun bows below the horizon and darkness stretches across the sky, the stars emerge, silent, brilliant, and ancient. We look up, perhaps without much thought, and see constellations we've known since childhood, clusters of light twinkling softly against the black velvet of the cosmos. But few people pause to consider the staggering truth of what they're witnessing. These stars, glowing so calmly above us, are not what they appear to be. The light that reaches our eyes has traveled vast distances, across incomprehensible stretches of space and time, and by the time it touches us, that light is old. So old, in fact, that some of the stars we see may no longer even exist. What we're witnessing each night is not the present moment of the universe, but a grand mosaic of the past. Light travels fast, faster than anything else we know, but space is so unimaginably vast that even light must journey for years, decades, centuries, and sometimes millennia to arrive here. When you see the North Star, you're looking at what it looked like more than 400 years ago. When you spot the stars of Orion's belt, you're seeing light that left those stellar furnaces hundreds of years in the past. And when you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, the nearest large galaxy to our own, you're staring at light that has been on its way to Earth for over 2 million years. In the act of stargazing, we become unwitting time travelers, peering through a cosmic window, not into what is, but into what was. This thought is both humbling and mesmerizing. It reminds us that the universe does not operate on human time. Our lives, our years, our generations are barely measurable ticks on the great cosmic clock. While we worry about our schedules, our obligations, our tomorrows, the stars quietly broadcast echoes of ancient events, long extinguished flames still shimmering across eternity. Some of those stars have exploded in supernovae, vanished into black holes, or faded into stellar embers, but their light continues to pour through the cosmos, refusing to be forgotten. In this way, the sky is not just a map of the heavens, it's a library of memory, a living archive of light. To lie on your back beneath the night sky is to commune with the past. You are surrounded by messages from epochs before your birth, before your ancestors, before recorded history. The photons touching your eyes tonight began their journey long before there were cities, before there were books, before there were even human words to describe the stars themselves. You are connected to a lineage of light that predates the Earth's oldest myths, that predates the mountains and rivers, and even the rise of oceans. Each starlit glance is a whisper from the deep past, carrying secrets that no one alive can remember, but everyone can witness. There is something deeply poetic in the idea that starlight is memory made visible. It gives a new dimension to the notion of looking back. When we remember, we mentally revisit moments that have passed. When we stargaze, we do something similar, but physically. We let the past enter our eyes. We absorb ancient light that has traveled across the yawning vacuum of space just to brush against our perception. We become the destination of an endless journey. The star never knows who will see its light. It simply shines, unknowing, and in doing so becomes part of countless lives and thoughts far beyond its reach. And what a strange paradox it is. While we lie in the present, wrapped in the concerns of now, the sky above pulls us into the past. This duality of living in one moment while witnessing another teaches us something about the layered nature of time. We are never fully in just one moment. Our bodies are here, but our eyes reach backward. Our thoughts leap forward. Our dreams scatter across time like dust in wind. The present is merely a thread holding together all the pieces. The past we see, the future we imagine, and the now we inhabit without ever fully understanding it. For those who have ever stared at the stars during a time of grief, the experience can be especially poignant. Knowing that the light you see began its journey before your loss, before your sorrow, somehow makes it feel sacred. It's as if the universe, in all its unfeeling vastness, still offers you a gesture of continuity, a reminder that life, light, and memory are never truly erased. The light of what was continues, no matter how much has changed. It gives a form of comfort nothing else can, not because the stars care, but because they endure. The stars also remind us how relative and fragile our concept of time really is. In our daily lives, we are obsessed with precision, counting hours, minutes, seconds, always racing forward. But in the universe, time is patient. It allows light to wander. It allows entire galaxies to move, to spin, to grow, and to die over billions of years. Compared to this grandeur, our lives are flickers. And yet, we are able to look up and see those billions of years in motion. Our consciousness, however brief, is still capable of grasping eternity. In that, there is something divine. Astronomers often say that to look into deep space is to look into deep time. The farther out you observe, the older the light you see. This is not just metaphor, it's literal. The James Webb Space Telescope, for example, peers so far into the cosmos that it captures galaxies as they were more than 13 billion years ago, not long after the Big Bang itself. Those images are not reconstructions or predictions. They are real snapshots of a young universe, glowing in its infancy, just now arriving to meet our gaze. Each one is a miracle of timing, as if the cosmos has been waiting all this time for our eyes to open wide enough to see. And so, when we talk about seeing stars, we are talking about much more than seeing points of light. We are witnessing the unfolding of time, the drama of creation, the endurance of distance, and the stubborn resilience of energy. We are seeing what endurance looks like when it glows. Some of those stars were born in quiet cosmic nurseries, others were forged in cataclysm, in the crucibles of supernovae. All of them speak of processes too large for our minds to contain, and yet their results arrive in something as small and personal as a single moment of wonder on a quiet night. When you next lie beneath the stars, consider this. The light you see is ancient, not just in years, but in emotion. That light has passed through collisions, through clouds of dust, through gravity's pull, through silence unimaginable. It has traveled to reach you, yes, you, on this night, in this place, in this fleeting moment of your life. It carries with it a history, not written in words, but in brilliance. You are not just an observer. You are the final destination of a journey that began before your country existed, before your ancestors were born, before even the planet formed its continents. And perhaps that is the most breathtaking part, the fact that you, a small human being with hopes and fears and fragile bones, can witness light that predates everything you know. That your mind, no matter how tangled with thoughts of today, can make room for something so timeless. That your life, short as it may seem, intersects with the life of the cosmos in a real, undeniable way. You are made of stardust, yes, but you also receive it. You inherit light. It's easy to become numb to beauty, to forget to look up, to drown in the noise of our own routines. But the night sky remains. It does not demand your attention. It simply offers it. It waits patiently each night, draped across the heavens, telling stories no one can fully interpret. And yet, those stories enter us all the same, in dreams, in poems, in the quiet sigh of someone staring out a window long after midnight, the stars tell us something that nothing else does: that time is vast, that memory is light, and that we are never as alone in the universe as we think. So the next time you find yourself outside beneath the stars, take a moment not just to look, but to feel. Let your awareness drift backward, along the path of that light. Let it pass through centuries, through the cold and empty dark, through the silence of a universe that does not speak but always listens. Let it remind you that every moment you live is layered with history, not just human history, but cosmic history. And in that moment, you will not just be lying in the present, you will be witnessing the past, glowing gently above, waiting patiently to be seen. The Vanishing Universe Paradox. Your mind creates entire universes in your sleep, with characters, places, and rules that vanish by morning. Each night, as your eyes grow heavy and the waking world fades to a hush, your mind begins its silent work. Without your permission, without your awareness, it weaves together a reality, a universe, that didn't exist the moment before. In this universe, there are people you've never met, but somehow trust. There are cities with winding alleys you instinctively know how to navigate. There are rules that govern cause and effect, physics that may bend but never feel arbitrary. And within this vivid, fully formed world, you play out a story, your role undefined but vital. Then, just as quickly as it began, this universe collapses. You wake and all that richness vanishes like smoke caught in sunlight. This is the Vanishing Universe Paradox. How is it that the human mind can summon such intricacy in the dark? What power within the subconscious is capable of world building with no blueprints, no planning, and no effort? It creates universes complete with geography, history, logic, and emotion, sometimes more immersive than any waking experience. You've felt the wind in your face in a dream. You've cried for people who never existed. You've run through forests that only flickered into being for a few short moments, then disappeared forever. And the most confounding part? You believed it all while it lasted. You accepted that reality without question. Until, of course, it was gone. We marvel at authors who spend decades crafting fantasy worlds. We applaud filmmakers for building cinematic universes that span sequels and timelines. Yet every single night, your mind does the same, spontaneously. There are no rewrites, no drafts, no rehearsals. The dream world arises from nothing and retreats to nothing. Its architecture, emotional logic, and unfolding narratives vanish upon waking, leaving only fragments and feelings behind. This paradox raises a profound question. If your mind can create entire universes unconsciously, then what is the nature of the one you call real? Perhaps the waking world is simply the one you keep returning to, not the only one that exists. In dreams, the illusion of continuity is so convincing that you rarely doubt it. You believe in the identity you're given, the stakes you're involved in, the fears and the joys. The laws of physics may stretch, but never to the point that you feel it's false. And so, the question becomes, what makes one universe more real than another? If a universe vanishes, does it mean it never was? Or does it mean it lived briefly, just long enough to be experienced? In your dreams, you may meet people who feel startlingly familiar. They laugh, they cry, they speak in voices you've never heard in waking life. Who are they? Are they echoes of people you've known, fragments of your own psyche given shape? Or are they spontaneous beings brought into being by your sleeping mind, created with such complexity that they seem to possess agency? You might love them, you might protect them, but when morning comes, they dissolve. Their faces fade, their names slip away. It's as though the universe that held them was wiped clean from the slate of consciousness. The places in dreams are equally perplexing. You walk through airports, forests, stadiums, and bedrooms, places you've never visited in waking life, but that feel imbued with memory and meaning. They are often consistent across dreams, recurring as if they exist in some hidden layer of reality. Some people report having entire dream cities that reappear across years, growing more detailed with time. But still, when the dream ends, the city is gone. The laws of its traffic, the light of its skies, the feeling of standing beneath its street lamps, all vanish. As if the mind builds worlds from vapor, only to watch them dissipate with the rising sun. And yet, these dream universes feel so genuine while you're in them. If you were to rank the emotional intensity of some dreams, they might rival or even exceed waking memories. You've been terrified in a nightmare, your heart pounding, your breath shallow. You've wept with joy in a dream reunion, only to wake with tears still clinging to your face. You've fallen in love with someone who never was, and grieved them as if your soul had known theirs for lifetimes. How can a moment that never happened affect you so deeply? How can an imaginary world leave behind emotional residue that stains your waking hours? This paradox, the vanishing universe paradox, forces us to question the architecture of consciousness. If the mind can simulate entire realities so convincingly that the body and heart respond as though they were real, then reality itself must be more fluid than we think. It may not be a single, fixed plane, but rather a spectrum of experiences, each as real as the depth of feeling it stirs. And if a dream universe disappears in the morning, perhaps it doesn't mean it never existed. Perhaps it simply means it belonged to a different layer of reality, one to which our waking self has limited access. Some theories suggest that dreams are a sandbox, an environment where the brain rehearses, rewrites, replays. But others see dreams as portals, not projections. If that were the case, then the dream universes we visit aren't ours to keep. They are places we pass through, like travelers stopping for a single night in a foreign land. In that short stay, we may touch lives, walk roads, make decisions, and then we leave, and like all travelers, we remember only what we managed to hold on to, often just fleeting impressions like postcards from a place that defies mapping. The impermanence of dream universes adds to their haunting beauty. There is something deeply poetic about creating worlds that will vanish. It's a reminder of how all things are temporary: memories, emotions, places, and even selfhood. But temporary doesn't mean meaningless. The cherry blossom falls, but it is no less beautiful for its brevity. Likewise, your dream worlds are ephemeral but not empty. Effortless like now, a veteran warrior and a courageous advocate will not empty. In their brief lifespans, they show you who you are when you're unbound by logic, ego, or expectation. They show you who you might be in another timeline, in another cosmos, under another name. There's also an unspoken sadness in this paradox, that no matter how wondrous, how terrifying, how profound a dream universe is, you may never return. Even if you want to, even if you ache to, you wake up and it's gone. No doorway to re-enter, no map to trace, just memory fading fast. You might try to write it down, you might try to go back to sleep hoping the dream continues, but it rarely does. The portal has closed. The world has vanished. You are left standing at the edge of consciousness, wondering if you were ever truly there. But perhaps this is the point. Perhaps dream universes exist not to be held onto, but to remind us of the richness within. The brain, the mind, the soul, whatever name you choose, is capable of astonishing depth. It holds multitudes. You carry within you not just your waking self, but infinite selves, infinite places, infinite rule sets. You are not just one version of reality. You are a creator of many. The vanishing universe paradox doesn't weaken the dream world by its disappearance. It elevates it by its birth. The fact that your mind can birth a universe, even one that only lasts a few minutes, is a miracle too few people take seriously. And so, we return each night to this invisible theater. We let go. We surrender to the process. We trust that something meaningful may emerge from the abyss. Sometimes it's nonsense, sometimes it's terrifying, but sometimes, just sometimes, It's transcendent, a dream that changes your waking life, a universe that exists just long enough to leave its fingerprint on your soul. You may not remember the details, you may forget the names, but you'll feel the shift. As if a parallel self whispered through the veil, reminding you that reality is not always what it seems. So, when you wake up next time with a dream slipping through your fingers, take a moment. Even as it fades, honor it. You just created a universe, lived in it, and left it behind. That is no small act. It is a creative miracle performed by your unconscious mind. It is art, it is memory, it is mystery. And even though it vanished, it mattered, if only because you experienced it. The unseen tree paradox. Somewhere, a tree is growing from a seed that fell silently while no one watched, and yet it still matters. Somewhere, beneath layers of forgotten soil, where no footsteps echo and no eyes linger, a single seed has begun to split. It did not fall with drama, nor was its arrival marked by ceremony. No trumpet of nature announced its descent, and no poet was present to etch its fall into verse. It simply dropped, quietly, unnoticed, from the limb of an old tree that itself once began as a whisper in the soil. That seed tumbled through the wind, nestled into a patch of earth, and began the long, invisible work of becoming. And though no one watched it fall, and no one watched it begin, it matters. This is how life often begins, not with noise, but with stillness, not with applause, but with patience. While we run through our days chasing meaning in headlines, accomplishments, and recognition, nature unfolds its quiet miracles in the background. The seed does not demand attention. It does not seek validation. It does not wonder whether it is worthy of becoming a tree. It simply follows its purpose. Its outer shell dissolves, its inner code awakens, and beneath the dirt, it begins its slow, holy labor. It grows. Root by root, cell by cell, it commits to the work of living without ever asking who might notice. And isn't that the profound truth we often forget? That so much of what is real, what is beautiful, what endures, happens in silence. A mountain forms over centuries, without ever seeking an audience. A river wears down stone not through force, but through the humility of persistence. A forest does not ask to be seen before it offers its shade. In the same way, the seed asks for nothing. Its journey is unseen, and still it becomes. We live in a world obsessed with visibility. We are taught to measure worth by who notices us, by the number of eyes upon our work, by the applause that follows our efforts. But the seed teaches us something deeper, that impact is not always immediate, and meaning is not always loud. A tree does not grow faster just because someone is watching. It does not bloom more beautifully because it is being admired. It grows because growth is its nature. And if we are to live fully, perhaps we must learn to honor that nature in ourselves. Imagine that tree, years from now, standing tall in a clearing, bathed in golden light. Its trunk is thick with time. Its branches reach with grace. It offers shelter to birds, shade to wanderers, fruit to the hungry, and oxygen to the unseen lungs of the world. It sways with the wind, sings with the leaves, and never once stops to ask whether it was worth it. It simply is. And all of that, every inch of bark, every ring of age, every flutter of its canopy, began with a fall no one saw. This is the paradox of significance. We think that for something to matter, it must be recognized. But some of the most significant things that have ever happened in the history of this world were quiet, unnoticed, and humble. Somewhere, a child was born who would change the course of art. Somewhere, an idea was scribbled on a napkin that would become a cure. Somewhere, someone chose to be kind in a moment that could have turned cruel, and it changed the trajectory of a life. Not all miracles wear signs, not all heroes wear armor, and not all seeds fall into fanfare. So often we feel lost in the world's noise. We fear that we do not matter unless we are loud, unless we are liked, unless we are seen. But there is peace in knowing that our worth is not tied to visibility. Like the seed, we are enough simply by being. The journey we are on may not be celebrated, our efforts may not trend, our stories may not go viral, and yet they matter. Every act of love, every effort to heal, every moment of integrity, even when done alone, unseen and unpraised, carries weight, because the universe notices what the crowd forgets. Think of the countless seeds that never become trees, not because they were not worthy, but because the world is unpredictable. Some are washed away in storms, some are eaten by birds, some dry up before their roots take hold. But the one that grows does not grow because it is more deserving. It grows because it was met by the right conditions. And that too is a lesson. Our blooming is not always in our hands. Sometimes we must simply fall, wait, and trust that the ground will receive us. There's a kind of sacredness in these unnoticed beginnings, in the way healing starts with one quiet decision to forgive, in the way a dream is born not with a grand announcement, but in the hushed thoughts before sleep, in the way strength forms not in moments of triumph, but in the steady endurance of pain. Life does not always change with lightning. Sometimes it changes like moss, slowly, subtly, persistently, until one day everything is green and soft and new. If the tree could speak, it would not brag of how it came to be. It would not say, "Look how far I've come." It would simply offer its shade. It would let birds nest in its limbs. It would cradle the wind and catch the light. And in doing so, it would fulfill its purpose, not because it was watched, but because it was true to its nature. We too have the same invitation, not to impress, not to be noticed, but to be real, not to shout, but to grow. So often we seek meaning in the spectacular, but life is rich with quiet meaning. Somewhere, someone is holding the hand of a loved one for the last time. Somewhere, someone is writing the first sentence of a story that will never be published, but will save their life. Somewhere, someone is choosing not to give up, even though no one will know the battle they fought today. These moments don't make the news. They don't trend online, but they are the seed moments, the beginnings of something sacred. We need not fear invisibility. We need not measure our days by the echoes they leave in the world. It is enough to be kind even if the kindness is forgotten. It is enough to try even if the result is small. It is enough to grow even if no one claps for us. Just as the tree stands in the forest, its roots deep and strong, its presence needed even by those who never notice it, so too can we live lives of meaning without spectacle. There is a rhythm to nature that honors the unseen. The sun does not rise with an audience. The rain does not fall for applause. The stars do not shine more brightly because we gaze up in wonder. They are what they are, true, unwavering, essential, and so are we. Our worth is not found in reaction. It is found in being aligned with what is quietly true in us, in living with intention even when no one is watching, in loving the world even when it forgets to love us back. And perhaps, if we carry this truth, we will walk through life more gently. We will learn to pause for the things that don't ask for our attention, the way light hits a wall, the rustle of leaves, the feel of breath. We will plant seeds not just in gardens, but in hearts. We will offer our time, our listening, our compassion freely, not for what we receive, but for what we become in the giving. And in doing so, we join the quiet miracle, the sacred unfolding of a life that matters, simply because it exists. So let us remember, somewhere, a tree is growing from a seed that fell silently while no one watched, and yet it still matters, because life is not measured by who sees us, but by what we give. And growth, in its purest form, is not performance. It is promise. It is persistence. It is presence. It is becoming, root by root, breath by breath, a quiet light in a world that too often forgets to notice the wonder just beneath its feet. The memory time travel paradox. Time moves forward, but memory lets us touch yesterday. Is memory a kind of time travel? Time, as we know it, moves in only one direction. It slips from morning to afternoon to night, from birth to aging to the end. No matter how desperately we try, we cannot go back. Clocks tick forward, calendars flip ahead. We age, not backward but onward. The present moment swells for an instant, then is pulled beneath the surface of what has already been. And yet, despite this relentless forward motion, there is something within us that defies it. Memory. Memory does not obey the linear march of seconds. With the smallest spark, a scent, a song, a glimpse, we are no longer here, no longer now. We are there again, back in a moment long gone, back in the warmth or ache of yesterday. And so we must ask, is memory a kind of time travel? It may not have the machinery of science fiction. There is no glowing portal or flashing light, no humming device to step into, but memory has its own method of movement, quieter and more powerful. In an instant, it can transport us to the past, not in body, but in presence. A birthday candle flickering in the dark can return us to a childhood kitchen. A perfume in the hallway can bring back the embrace of someone long lost. A melody drifting from a radio can unravel a summer afternoon from decades ago. In these moments, we do not simply remember, we re-inhabit. The mind does not distinguish memory as a diluted version of life. To the brain, a vivid memory and a direct experience share the same neural pathways. The same regions light up. The heart may quicken, the throat may tighten, the eyes may tear. This is not a faint echo, it is a revival. It is not observation of the past from afar, it is re-entry. When we recall, we relive. And in that sense, memory becomes more than a container of what was. It becomes a doorway into it. It becomes a vessel of time itself. Consider how involuntarily memory arises. You do not need to ask for it, and you do not always control it. Like a wave from beneath, a memory can rise, unbidden, and pull you under. You may be walking through a supermarket, lost in thought, and suddenly, you're 17 again, hearing a voice you haven't heard in years. It happens without planning, without permission. Time, in its forward march, is interrupted by something older, something deeper. It is as if a part of you was waiting for this moment to emerge. This brief return to what was once your entire world. This experiences is not confined to the past alone. Memory influences how we perceive the present and anticipate the future. It shades how we love, how we fear, how we hope. A childhood of kindness can make us trust. A history of betrayal can make us flinch. Even when we move forward, we carry our yesterdays like a map. They do not merely sit behind us, they walk beside us, whispering into our decisions, shaping our reactions. Time may move on, but memory bends that line into a loop, so that moments long past still pulse within the now. And in this bending of time, memory becomes a bridge. Through it, we reconnect with people who are gone, places that have changed, selves we've outgrown. You might walk through your old neighborhood and feel, in your chest, the echo of your childhood footsteps. You might open a letter from a parent no longer alive and hear their voice again, not imagined, but remembered with such clarity that it startles you. The boundaries between then and now dissolve. For a few seconds, or perhaps minutes, you are both the person you were and the person you have become. But memory is not always soft. Sometimes it is sharp. Sometimes the past returns not as comfort, but as a wound. Trauma lives in memory too. Just as we revisit joy, we also revisit pain. A sound, a smell, a phrase can reopen what we thought had healed. The body tightens, the breath shortens. It is as if we are there again, in that argument, in that accident, in that goodbye. This too is a kind of time travel, one we do not seek but endure. It teaches us that memory is not only a window, but a mirror. It reflects not only what happened, but how it still lives within us. And still, we keep returning. We return to our most tender moments, trying to hold on. We return to the lost faces, tracing them in the dark. We return to the places that made us feel whole, even if they now exist only in fragments. Why? Because memory offers something that no forward-facing clock can, a sense of continuity. We do not live as isolated instants. We are made of what came before. To remember is to gather those pieces, to stitch them into a self that knows who it is, because it remembers who it was. Philosophers and scientists alike have pondered the nature of memory, what it is, where it comes from, why it persists. Some argue that memory is simply data storage, a function of survival. Others believe it is proof of consciousness, a phenomenon that transcends biology. But regardless of theory, the effect is clear. Memory gives depth to our lives. Without it, we would wake each day as strangers to ourselves. With it, we are time travelers, carrying all the versions of ourselves through each day like shadows that stretch across years. There's a kind of sacredness in memory. When we sit with it, we are not alone. We are with the people who loved us when we didn't yet love ourselves. We are with the laughter of friends from long ago. We are with the fireflies of one summer, the snowfall of one winter, the scent of books in a childhood library. And though we cannot touch those things, we feel them. Though they have passed, they remain. And this is perhaps the miracle of memory, that what is gone can still be felt, and what has ended can still nourish. In this way, memory is a rebellion against loss. It is the soul's refusal to let go entirely. We cannot bring people back, we cannot reverse time, but we can remember. We can return, if only for a breath, to the warmth of their presence. We can hear their laughter in our dreams, feel their guidance in our struggles. Memory becomes a language that speaks across time, saying, "You are not forgotten. You matter then. You matter still." Some memories are carved deep. Others are fleeting. Some come with clarity, others with haze. But each one is a thread. Together they weave the tapestry of who we are. And just as we are shaped by our own memories, we shape the memories of others. The kindness we offer today may become someone's time travel tomorrow. The words we speak now may echo decades from now in someone else's mind. Memory is not just what we hold, it's what we leave behind. So, is memory a kind of time travel? In every meaningful way, yes. It may not move us backward in flesh, but it moves us in spirit. It carries our senses, our emotions, our identities across time's rigid line. It lets us linger in places we once loved. It lets us make peace with moments we once feared. It allows us to pause in the relentless forward motion and say, "This mattered. This still mattered." In the quiet moments, when you close your eyes and remember the way someone smiled at you, or the way the world looked on the day your life changed, you are not merely thinking, you are traveling. You are stepping into a time that no longer exists, and yet somehow still does. And in that step, you prove that time is not a straight road, but a woven path, stitched together by memory, leading us again and again to the places where we were once most alive. So let yourself remember, let yourself go back. Let the weight of yesterday rest softly on your shoulders, not as a burden, but as a companion. You are not betraying the present by touching the past, you are honoring it. You are seeing that time is not just movement, it is meaning. And through memory, you carry that meaning with you wherever you go. The shared breath paradox. Every breath you take is shared with the ancient world. Atoms from dinosaurs and distant mountains are inside you now. Every breath you take is a quiet miracle. It enters your body without effort, fills your lungs, sustains your blood, then drifts away again. Inhale, exhale. We do it countless times each day, mostly without thought, but within that breath lies a staggering truth, one that reaches across eons and continents. The air you're pulling in now is not new. It is unimaginably old. It is ancient, recycled, and reborn. The very atoms swirling inside your chest have been here for billions of years. They have traveled through storms, volcanoes, forests, and fire. They have been part of other bodies, other worlds, other lives. And some of those atoms were once inside dinosaurs, inside mammoths, inside the bones of creatures who roamed the earth long before you opened your eyes. We often think of ourselves as new, as separate, as emerging from a present world unconnected to the distant past. But that's an illusion. Every breath is a communion with history. When you inhale, you are drawing in the molecules of oxygen and nitrogen that once flowed through the blood of prehistoric beasts. You are taking in the carbon dioxide that fed ancient plants beneath a sky untouched by cities. You are inhaling the essence of stars that exploded to make everything you see. You are filled, moment by moment, with particles that have seen more of the universe than any human ever will. Consider this. Each atom in your body was forged in the heart of a star, not metaphorically, literally. The hydrogen that fuels your cells was formed in the Big Bang. The carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, and iron in your bones, muscles, and thoughts were born in supernovae, exploding stars flinging elements into the universe with unimaginable force. Those atoms drifted through the cosmos, collected into clouds, gathered into planets, and eventually into life. And now they are here, in you, in this breath. You are not a visitor to this earth. You are made of it. Even the air itself has never left. The Earth's atmosphere does not vanish. It cycles. It flows. The breath you just took may have been exhaled by a Roman farmer, a Chinese poet, or a child in ancient Egypt. It may have carried across the Himalayas, mingled in the lungs of a woolly mammoth, or hovered above the deep ocean for centuries. These molecules don't disappear. They move. They travel. They return. The same breath that filled the chest of a dinosaur millions of years ago now fills yours, and the breath you release may one day enter someone not yet born. There is something deeply humbling in this knowledge. It breaks the illusion of isolation. You are not separate from nature. You are not apart from history. You are a continuation, a participant in a vast, ongoing exchange of matter. We think of ourselves as singular beings, but in truth, we are made of shared pieces, shared air, shared atoms, shared time. Every breath is proof of connection between people, between species, between the living and the long gone. You may have never stood at the base of a redwood tree, but the molecules from those ancient trunks may now be circulating through your bloodstream. You may never have touched the skin of a lion, but you breathe in atoms that once roared through its lungs. Mountains erode into dust, rivers carry sediment, winds lift particles into the sky, and all of it enters the cycle of breath. The dust of crushed stone becomes airborne, the mist from waterfalls rises, the smoke from ancient fires lingers. The earth is not only beneath us, it is within us. And it goes further still. When you eat, you consume the ancient world too. The minerals in your food come from rock that took millions of years to form. The plants you digest grew from soil made of decayed forests. The water in your glass may have once frozen in a glacier that scraped across the land when woolly beasts ruled the plains. You are, in every way, built from Earth's history. You carry it in your cells, in your marrow, in your breath. Science tells us that an average breath contains around 25 sectillion molecules. That's 25 followed by 21 zeros. With that many molecules, it becomes statistically certain that every breath you take includes particles from the breaths of everyone who has ever lived. From the final exhalation of an ancient philosopher to the laughter of a child born centuries ago, traces remain. We live in the wake of others. We inhale what they exhaled. We are haunted by their presence, not in spirit, but in substance. This knowledge does not have to feel overwhelming. It can feel sacred. It can change the way we think about life and death. The end is never really an end. The form may shift, but the particles remain. When a tree falls, it rots. It feeds the soil and it rises again in new growth. When a body returns to the earth, its atoms scatter, becoming part of birds, clouds, and rain. You will never be lost. You will only be changed. You will continue to be breathed in by the world long after you are gone. So what does it mean to breathe, knowing this? It means every breath is a quiet miracle, a shared moment with the ancient and the eternal. It means that even in solitude, you are never alone. You are accompanied by the history of the planet, by the story of creation, by the essence of lives lived long before you. It means that to inhale is to connect, to become one with the sky and the soil and the silent beasts that shaped our world. It means your life is not a brief flicker, but a continuation of a flame passed down through matter and time. It also means we carry responsibility. What we breathe out returns to the world. What we destroy in ourselves. When we pollute the air, we poison the future breath of our children. When we scorch forests, we interrupt the sacred exchange between leaf and lung. When we forget that the air is shared, we begin to lose our place in the great cycle of life. But when we honor it, when we protect it, we protect more than air. We protect the chain of being, the invisible thread that connects us to all who came before and all who will come after. Take a breath. Feel it move through you. It is ancient. It is sacred. It has been part of volcanoes, thunderclouds, and tears. It has moved through kings and beggars, predators and prey, poets and warriors. It is not yours alone. It never was. You are borrowing it. You are part of a legacy of breath, of transformation, of return. And in your breath, you contribute to the story. You carry the world forward. Even in stillness, you are participating in something immense. You are proof that the past still moves through the present. The dinosaur that once roamed the earth is not entirely lost. It lingers in the air, in the wind, in the breath you draw now. The mountain that once crumbled in silence is not merely rock, it is part of your bones, your thoughts, your heartbeat. The forest that once echoed with the cry of birds now sings through the rhythm of your breath. We spend so much time seeking meaning, wondering where we fit in the story of the world, but perhaps it's simpler than we think. Perhaps our place is not marked by what we own or even what we do, but by how we belong. And we do belong, intimately, endlessly, atomically, to everything. We are not observers, we are participants, carriers of memory, inhalers of history, givers of breath. So breathe deeply, not just for survival, but for reverence, for gratitude, for the unfathomable dance of molecules that brought you here. You are made of stars and soil, of thunder and tree bark, of everything that has ever been. And when you are gone, you will not vanish, you will return. Your breath will drift into the lungs of others. Your atoms will settle into soil, rise into rain, feed the roots of tomorrow's forests. Nothing is wasted, nothing is lost, everything is shared. This is the quiet truth behind each breath, not just that it keeps you alive, but that it connects you to the past, to the earth, to everything. Every breath you take is a message. You are not alone. You never were. The moon's gentle pull paradox. The moon pulls at the oceans and at the water in your own body every single night. Above us hangs a silent witness, pale and patient, drifting through the night sky as it has for billions of years. The moon, always there, always circling, always watching. To some, it is just a celestial object, a rock orbiting our planet, but to others, it is a force, a rhythm, a quiet influence on life itself. Its presence does more than light the darkness. It moves the very oceans, lifts entire seas, and reshapes coastlines. And, perhaps more astonishingly, it touches you too. It pulls not only at the tides, but at the water inside your own body. You, like the sea, are never entirely still when the moon rises. We know the moon governs the tides. Its gravitational pull draws the oceans toward it, creating a bulge of water on the side of Earth facing the moon and a second bulge on the opposite side. As the planet rotates, these bulges move across the globe, causing the rhythmic rise and fall we call tides. Beaches disappear and reappear, harbors swell and settle. This cycle is ancient, predictable, and powerful, but what is often overlooked is that you, too, are made mostly of water. And though you may not feel it, the moon pulls at you in the same subtle, invisible way. The human body is more than half water. Your brain, your blood, your muscles, each is filled with fluid that responds to forces both internal and external. The moon doesn't only move the vast oceans, it stirs the tiny oceans inside us. It tugs at the water in your cells, the fluid in your spine, the moisture in your breath. You may not rise and fall like the sea, but you are not immune to its influence. With each moonrise, your body becomes part of a dance that has played out for eons. Some researchers have explored whether this lunar pull affects human behavior, mood, sleep, and even physical health. Folklore has long suggested it does. People speak of restless nights under full moons, heightened emotions, strange dreams, and sudden surges of energy or unease. Emergency rooms have reported patterns of higher activity during certain lunar phases. Animals, too, respond. Coral reefs respond during full moons. Nocturnal creatures shift their patterns based on moonlight. Even wolves, romanticized as howling at the moon, seem to react to its brightness, its timing, its presence. Though science has not confirmed every connection between moon phases and human behavior, the possibility alone invites awe. For even the notion that a rock 238,000 miles away could influence your heartbeat, your dreams, your thoughts, is enough to remind us how deeply interconnected we are with the cosmos. You are not separate from the sky, you are written into it. The same force that stirs the tide stirs. Think of this the next time you stand near the ocean at night. The moon above you is pulling at the sea and at you, both responding to a force as old as time. The waves rise not in chaos, but in rhythm. So too, perhaps, do your emotions, your memories, your instincts. We often talk of feeling off or out of sync, without ever realizing that we are biological instruments in a cosmic symphony. Sometimes we play in harmony, sometimes we are dissonant, but we are always playing, always vibrating to some greater tide. There is comfort in this. In a world where we often feel disconnected from each other, from nature, from purpose, the moon reminds us of belonging. It reminds us that we are not static. We are always in motion, even in stillness. Our fluids shift, our cells respond, our hearts beat in quiet reflection of larger rhythms. To breathe is to participate. To feel is to align. You do not need to understand every mechanism to be part of the movement. Throughout history, cultures have revered the moon. It has been called mother, goddess, guardian, mystery. Its cycles were once our clocks. Before electricity, before calendars, people lived by the moon. It told them when to plant and when to harvest, when to hunt and when to rest. Its waxing and waning were not just marks of time, but signals of change, of fertility, of cleansing and renewal. Some traditions still align spiritual practices with the lunar calendar. New moons are times for intention, full moons for release. The moon is more than light, it is a teacher. When the moon is full, it reflects the sun's light in full glory. When it wanes, it reminds us that all things pass. It shows us that darkness is not the end, but a part of the cycle. And just as the oceans respond to its rhythm, so too can we. Maybe we need to give ourselves permission to feel differently at different phases, to embrace days of stillness and nights of movement, to honor the pull we cannot name, to accept that not everything can be explained, but much can be felt. Even modern medicine has noticed how certain biological processes seem to follow monthly rhythms. Women's reproductive cycles mirror the moon's 29.5-day orbit. Sleep patterns often fluctuate with its brightness. Farmers still plant by lunar phase, trusting generations of wisdom that cannot be fully explained by data alone. And while skeptics may scoff, the moon continues its path undisturbed, influencing the world in ways both seen and unseen. Perhaps that is part of its magic, that it does not demand attention, it simply is. It does not scream its influence, it pulls softly, persistently, patiently. And yet it moves water, shapes landscapes, sculpts coastlines. You cannot stop its effect. You can only surrender to it. Maybe that's a lesson in itself, that change does not always come through force, but through quiet, constant presence. That being is sometimes more powerful than doing, that subtlety can be strength. The moon also serves as a mirror, reflecting not only sunlight, but our own inner worlds. When you gaze at the moon, you see not just its craters and glow, but your own thoughts projected onto it. Lovers send their longing there, dreamers cast their hopes, the lonely find solace, the lost find direction. We look up and we see more than rock, we see reflection. The moon becomes what we need it to be, and that, too, is power. When you lie awake at night, caught in worry or wonder, remember this. Above you, the moon is pulling. It pulls at the oceans, it pulls at your blood, it pulls at your breath. You are part of something enormous, something sacred. You are not adrift, you are not alone. You are tethered by gravity and light, by water and rhythm, by cycles older than language. You are being moved even when you cannot feel it. There is something deeply human about longing for the moon. Children reach for it, poets write of it, scientists explore it. It draws us in, just as it draws the tide. Maybe that's because we recognize in it something essential, a reminder that we are part of the earth, yes, but also of the stars. A reminder that within us flows water once stirred by ancient moons. Water that will rise and fall for as long as the sky turns dark. So tonight, as the moon climbs into view, take a moment. Step outside, feel the cool air, listen to the hush of the world, look up. Let your eyes rest on that glowing sphere, and let your body remember what it already knows, that you are not separate, that you are moving, shifting, swaying like the ocean, touched by the same force that tugs at the edges of the world. The moon is not far, it is close enough to change you, not with noise, but with gravity, not with commands, but with pull. Let it remind you that stillness is not stagnation, that softness is not weakness, that every force that shapes the earth also shapes you. Let it remind you that your rhythms matter, even if no one sees them, that your tides rise even when no one hears them, that you are part of a living, breathing planet, and the moon knows your name. The self-replacement paradox. Your body replaces almost every cell over time, so who you are today is not who you were 10 years ago, physically. Your body, though it may seem like a stable and familiar home, is in constant motion. Beneath the surface of your skin, change never ceases. Cells divide, die, and renew with quiet precision, day after day. Skin sheds, bones rebuild, blood refreshes. Without ever asking your permission, your body performs the miracle of renewal, piece by piece, cell by cell, over days, months, and years. And so, though you may feel continuous, though you may believe you are the same person you were a decade ago, the truth is more curious. Physically, you are not. Most of the material that once made you has been replaced. You are quite literally a different person. The numbers are astonishing. The cells in your stomach lining regenerate every few days. Your skin renews roughly every month. Your red blood cells recycle every 4 months. Even your bones, which feel so solid and fixed, are not immune. They largely rebuild themselves over the course of a decade. The neurons in your brain may be more long-lived, but even there, supporting cells and connections constantly form and fade. With each passing moment, you are becoming someone new, molecularly speaking. And yet, your sense of self endures. You wake up each day recognizing your name, your face, your memories. So the question arises, if your body has been rebuilt, who are you now? This paradox is at once humbling and profound. We cling to the idea of identity as a fixed point, something solid we can rely on, but biology disagrees. The body you inhabit today is not the same one that took its first breath. It is not the same one that fell in love, broke a bone, or laughed until it cried 10 years ago. All of those moments were lived in a version of you that no longer exists, not physically at least. You are an echo of who you were, carried forward not by matter, but by continuity of experience and memory. In many ways, the body is more like a flowing river than a solid structure. You can step into it at any point and say, "This is me," but the water is always changing. The banks may hold the same shape, the river may bear the same name, but the particles that pass through it are never the same from one moment to the next. So it is with you. Your body is the vessel, but its contents are forever in flux. You are not a statue carved from stone, you are a living process, evolving in quiet revolutions. Consider the implications. The cells that once formed your hands as you held a loved one's face, gone. The tissues that once carried the weight of heartbreak or joy, recycled. Even the cells that made up the heart, that beat in fear or excitement, have long since passed. And yet you remember, you feel, you know. Somehow, in the impermanence of flesh, something endures. It is not the atoms, but the pattern, not the parts, but the story they create. This idea may unsettle some, but it can also be liberating. If you are always changing, then you are never trapped. You are not bound to the body you had when you were hurt, or the one that carried shame or illness. You are not fixed in failure or limited by past pain. Your body is renewing even now as you read this. New skin, new strength, new breath. You are a work in progress, rebuilt not only by time, but by choice. Each healthy meal, each moment of rest, each step taken in care is a contribution to the next version of you. It also means that identity is deeper than the physical. If your body changes entirely, but you remain you, then what anchors your sense of self? Is it memory? Is it awareness? Is it a soul? These are questions science alone cannot answer. But what we do know is that there is something intangible that persists, a thread of continuity that carries your story forward, even as the cells that tell it die and are replaced. You are not the sum of your molecules. You are the experience of being alive inside them. And yet, we often take the body for granted. We imagine it as a static shell, a background to our lives. But when you consider its constant labor, its tireless effort to renew, to adapt, to survive, you begin to see it as something miraculous. Your body is not passive. It is your partner. It is always working to keep you alive, always healing, always adjusting to your choices and your environment. And it does this without thanks, without recognition, simply because it is what it was made to do. There is poetry in this process. Cells die so that you may live. Skin peels so new skin can emerge. Blood flows and regenerates. Bones break and mend stronger. Even scars are not static. They too are shaped and softened over time. You are not decaying, you are recreating. Death on the cellular level is not an end, but a prelude to renewal. Life is not the absence of change, it is change. And the more we embrace that, the more we come to appreciate the quiet genius of the body. This ongoing transformation also makes space for forgiveness. The person you were 10 years ago, gone. The body that made a mistake, that carried regret, that didn't know what you know now, it no longer exists. You are not that person. You have the right to begin again, not just metaphorically, but biologically. Your heart is new, your hands are new, your cells have moved on. Maybe your mind can too. And yet, for all this change, there are aspects of you that remain. A scar from a childhood accident, a tattoo inked into the skin, a memory that stirs at a certain smell. These are the footprints of your former selves. They are not permanent structures, but lasting impressions, like fossils in the evolving rock of your being. You are shaped by the versions of you that came before, honored by them but not limited to them. You are not a single being, but a collection of selves, layered like rings in a tree, each one shaping the next. There's something beautiful in that truth. It means we carry history, but not weight. It means we are more than survivors, we are regenerators. We are the living embodiment of time's ability to heal, reshape, and reimagine. Our bodies prove this every day, in silence. A cut that closes, a bruise that fades, a muscle that grows stronger after pain. Even when you feel stuck, your body is not. It is moving forward, minute by minute, molecule by molecule. So the next time you look in the mirror and feel the pull of old stories, of who you were, of what you lacked, of the shape you wish to change, remember this: you are already changing. You are already becoming. You are not the same person who first looked into that mirror. You are not your failures or your past or your aging. You are transformation itself. You are a river wearing the same name, but never the same water. And because you are constantly renewing, the future is not fixed. Your body does not care about your past judgments. It listens to what you do now. It responds to nourishment, to rest, to movement, to care. It does not punish, it adapts. It waits for your guidance. It wants to work with you. And in this partnership, you have the chance to shape a life that aligns with who you are becoming, not just who you have been. Let that be your power. Let that be your peace. That you are not chained to your yesterday. That you do not need to undo the past, only begin again in the present. The cells of your being are already doing this work. All you need to do is join them. With every breath, you participate in the miracle of renewal. With every heartbeat, you move further into the life you are shaping. Not a repeat of the past, but a new expression of the self rising from within. You are not who you were 10 years ago. You are something more. Something renewed, reshaped, reborn, again and again by time, by effort, by hope. Let that truth guide you gently through each day. Let it remind you that growth is not an event, it is your nature. You are the evidence that life is not fixed, but fluid. You are proof that change is not only possible, it is already happening. The hidden spectrum paradox. There are colors your eyes can't see and sounds your ears can't hear. The universe is larger than your senses. You walk through the world believing you are seeing it all. The sky above, the trees swaying in the wind, the faces around you, the objects you touch and navigate. Each seems so real, so complete. You trust your eyes, your ears, your skin to bring the universe into your awareness. But the truth is far stranger and far more humbling. What you perceive is only a sliver of what truly exists. There are colors your eyes will never register. There are sounds your ears will never hear. There are textures your skin will never feel. The universe stretches far beyond the narrow gate of human perception. The human eye is a marvel, but its range is limited. It can detect only a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum, the visible light band. We see red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Beyond that, the world is hidden. Infrared, just beneath red, reveals heat and warmth, but is invisible to us. Ultraviolet, just beyond violet, carries energy that our retinas cannot decode. Other creatures live in these regions. Bees see in ultraviolet. detecting patterns on flowers that are completely hidden from our sight. Snakes sense the warmth of prey through infrared. What we consider reality is simply the portion we are biologically equipped to interpret. And sound, too, deceives us. Your ears are tuned to a specific range of frequencies, roughly 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Below that is infrasound, used by elephants to communicate over miles. Above that is ultrasound, used by bats to navigate in darkness and by dolphins to map their surroundings. These sonic landscapes are as rich and detailed as our own, but we are deaf to them. They exist, but not for us. Our ears are not broken. They are simply designed to filter the universe into what is evolutionarily useful. This filtering isn't a failure, it's a feature. The brain must make sense of an overwhelming flood of input, and it does so by narrowing the field. It takes the chaos of the cosmos and simplifies it into a story you can manage. But that story is not the whole. It is a summary, a useful illusion, a functional mirage. You are living within a sensory bubble, crafted by biology, shaped by evolution, and fine-tuned for one purpose: to help you stay alive, not to help you see truth. Imagine how the world might look if your senses were expanded. Imagine being able to see radio waves, to watch your cell phone signal dance through the air. Imagine perceiving magnetic fields the way some birds do, using them to navigate without maps. Imagine hearing the slow, deep creaks of tectonic plates shifting beneath the earth, or the distant roar of solar winds from the sun. These things are happening all around you, all the time, but they exist beyond the veil of your perception, and the veil is thick. Even within the visible world, your brain filters heavily. You don't see everything in your field of vision, you see what's important. Your brain fills in gaps, edits motion, hides flaws. You do not see your own blind spots. You do not perceive the delay between light hitting your eye and the image reaching your awareness. You are not experiencing the world in real time, but slightly delayed, always playing catch-up with reality, yet never aware of the lag. When we consider these limitations, something profound emerges. The universe is not what you think it is. It is not just larger in size, but larger in nature. Your senses give you one version of the story, but countless others exist. There are creatures perceiving dimensions of reality you can only imagine. The mantis shrimp, for example, sees colors in 16 channels compared to your 3. It experiences a spectrum so vast and alien that your richest rainbows are a pale imitation. For the shrimp, the world is a firestorm of color and motion you will never witness. But this isn't just about animals. It's about understanding our place. We are not at the center of the sensory universe. We are not equipped to see its totality. We are one interpretation, one window among many. The universe speaks in frequencies we cannot hear, glows in colors we cannot see, hums in energies we cannot feel. And yet we live our lives believing that what we perceive is all there is, that what we sense defines what is real. This assumption limits us, not just scientifically, but spiritually. It feeds the illusion that we know enough, that we can trust our experience as absolute. But what if we approached the world with humility instead? What if we acknowledged that we live inside a sensory dream, that our perception is a useful fiction? Then we might become curious again. Then we might start to wonder what else is out there, not in space, but right here, just beyond the reach of our eyes and ears. Technology gives us glimpses. Night vision goggles reveal the infrared world. X-ray machines expose the bones beneath flesh. Radio telescopes listen to whispers from galaxies far away. With these tools, we extend our senses, borrowing new forms of perception to fill in the gaps. But even with these enhancements, we are scratching the surface. The universe is too vast, too layered, too strange for any single creature or even any single species to grasp entirely. And yet, isn't it beautiful that we are surrounded by more than we can perceive? that wonder is always within reach, that mystery is built into the structure of existence? You will never run out of things to discover, because the world is not limited by your senses, it is only limited by your willingness to imagine beyond them. Even consciousness itself is mysterious. How do your senses translate vibrations in the air into music? How do your eyes turn light into memory? How does your brain, made of neurons and tissue, generate the rich inner world of thought, feeling, and awareness? No one fully knows. Your body receives signals, but you are more than a receiver. You are an interpreter, a storyteller, a dreamer living in a perceptual frame too narrow to hold the truth. This realization can be disorienting, but it can also be freeing. If your experience is limited, then so are your fears. So are your judgments. So are your certainties. There is room for humility, for softness, for awe. There is room to admit that others may perceive truths you do not. Just as bats hear sounds you never will. There is room to open your mind to the unknown. And what of intuition? What of moments when you sense something beyond logic? Perhaps these too are glimpses, brief crossings between worlds, hints of frequencies your body can't explain but somehow still feels. Not all knowing comes through sight and sound. Some truths arrive as presence, as silence, as awareness beyond words. So, the next time you walk through the world, notice how much is missing. Not with fear, but with reverence. That flower you see in the garden, it glows in ultraviolet to a bee. That quiet night, it hums with infrasound too deep for your ears. That empty sky, it pulses with cosmic rays, with radiation, with frequencies that stretch across time and space. You are surrounded by a world that is not quiet, not colorless, not still, but alive in ways you cannot grasp. And yet, somehow, you are part of it. You are made of the same atoms, vibrating in harmony with everything unseen. Your cells pulse with ancient rhythms. Your breath carries particles touched by stars. You may not perceive the full symphony of the universe, but you are still an instrument within it. Your presence matters. Your awareness, limited though it may be, is still a light within the vast, unknowable dark. There are colors you cannot see, and sounds you cannot hear, but that does not make them less real. It makes them sacred. It makes the universe a place of infinite potential, infinite discovery, infinite humility. You do not need to know everything to feel the wonder. You do not need to perceive it all to be moved by it. The mystery is not a flaw in the system. It is the invitation. So walk through life with open senses and an open spirit. The world you see is not the world, but a slice of it. Know that beyond your reach lies more beauty, more strangeness, more wisdom than you could ever imagine. And know that this is not something to fear, but to cherish. For it means that wonder is endless. That the universe, like you, is more than meets the eye, the conscious cosmos paradox. In the infinite vastness of space, you are a rare and conscious observer of its beauty. In all the silence of the cosmos, in all the darkness stretched between stars, there exists you, breathing, seeing, feeling. A small and fragile being walking on a spinning planet, orbiting an ordinary star, nestled in a quiet corner of an unremarkable galaxy. And yet, from this speck of dust suspended in sunbeam, you have looked up. You have wondered. You have asked questions. You have stared at the stars not just as lights, but as symbols, as mysteries, as distant fires that ignite something in your own soul. In the infinite vastness of space, you are not just drifting. You are observing. You are aware. And that makes you rare. Consider the scale. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. More galaxies than you could count in 1,000,000 lifetimes. Some stars are so distant their light has been traveling toward us for billions of years, only now arriving, only now whispering their existence to our eyes. Some planets orbit suns that died before Earth had oceans. And in all this sprawling infinity, in this cosmic web of fire and time, there is life. And that life, for reasons still unknown, can look up and wonder about its own existence. The universe is vast, yes, but vastness without perception is quiet. It is the human mind, the human heart, that gives space its poetry. It is you, in your moments of silence, watching the stars blink in the night, who brings meaning to the endless sky. The universe has existed for almost 14 billion years, and for most of that time there were no eyes to see, no ears to listen, no thoughts to marvel. But now, through you, it is being witnessed, it is being named, it is being loved. You are stardust. This is not metaphor but fact. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your breath, all born in nuclear furnaces long before our solar system formed. When those stars died, they scattered their contents across space. Eventually, those scattered elements came together again, coalescing into planets, into oceans, into life, into you. You are not just in the universe, you are of it. You are the cosmos made conscious, looking back upon itself. And that consciousness, your awareness, is something precious. It is not common. We do not yet know if other conscious observers exist elsewhere in the cosmos. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we know this. Here, on this small blue planet, consciousness has bloomed. It has asked questions, written songs, built telescopes, painted the night sky with names and stories. It has searched for its origins and imagined its future. And in all this, the universe, once silent, has begun to speak. You are part of that voice. When you sit quietly beneath the stars, when you feel the weight of their distance and the lightness of your breath, you participate in something sacred. You are not just a body in space. You are a mind aware of space, a heart moved by the shape of constellations, a being capable of awe, and in a universe that expands endlessly, that in itself is a miracle. It's easy to feel small in the face of the cosmos, to feel insignificant, but consider this. Nothing else that we know of can look across the galaxies and say, "I see." Nothing else, as far as we know, has wondered what it means to exist, has feared death, has sought meaning in starlight. Your smallness is not your weakness, it is your power. For in your limited frame, you carry unlimited curiosity. In your finite life, you hold infinite questions, and that makes your presence in this vastness deeply meaningful. Think of the stars themselves. Some are giants, burning with unimaginable energy. Others are small, faint, quiet. Some have planets with atmospheres and moons. Some are surrounded by ice and dust and silence. Yet most will never be known, never be named. They will shine their light for eons, unobserved, untouched. But here, on this planet, one creature has learned to trace their patterns, to measure their distance, to wonder at their origin. In doing so, we have given the stars an audience. We have given the cosmos a witness. And this witnessing is not passive, it is creative. You are not just recording the universe, you are interpreting it. Through science, yes, but also through art, through stories, through emotion. When you listen to music under a full moon, when you write poetry about the stars, when you fall in love beneath the night sky, you give the universe meaning it could never create on its own. You animate it, you give it soul. There is a term in astronomy, the observable universe. It defines the part of the cosmos we can see, given the limits of light and time. But perhaps there is also the felt universe, the part of existence we touch, not with instruments, but with emotion. The part that lives in memory, in longing, in reverence. That universe grows not with technology, but with attention, with presence, with moments of quiet wonder. So if you ever feel lost in the scale of things, remember, You are not meant to conquer the universe, but to feel it, to be moved by it, to be changed by it. You are not the creator of the stars, but you are the one who names them, who weaves them into myth and meaning, and in doing so, you become part of the very fabric of what makes the universe not just vast, but beautiful. Even the idea of time as we know it bends beneath our awareness. Stars die and are born in cycles we cannot fathom. Galaxies collide over millions of years, yet here you are, in one fragile moment existing. This moment may be brief, but it is not empty. It is a chance to see, to feel, to know, to live in a universe that, for most of its existence, knew nothing of life. And though your time is limited, your impact is not. You leave traces, you leave echoes. The light of your awareness changes the world around you, even in small ways. You share your thoughts, you pass on your love, you create, you reflect, you inspire. The universe may not need you, but it is more alive because of you. Some may argue that life is random, that awareness is a trick of chemistry, and perhaps in some ways it is. But the fact that chemistry can produce consciousness, that matter can produce meaning, is astonishing. You are a collection of particles, yes, but particles that dream, that remember, that seek. You are the universe attempting to understand itself, and that makes your life not just significant, but sacred. So tonight, look up. Let the stars remind you not of your smallness, but of your rarity. Let them remind you that you are not apart from the cosmos, but within it. That you are made of the same stuff as supernovas and moonlight. That your mind, though finite, can grasp the infinite. That your heart, though fragile, can hold the immensity of space. You are not alone in your wonder. Others before you have looked at these same stars and asked the same questions, and others will come after you carrying your questions further, adding new answers, new meanings. You are part of a lineage of stargazers, of thinkers, of dreamers. Together, across time, we form the eyes of the universe, the voice, the heart. In the infinite vastness of space, most things do not know they exist. Most things do not feel beauty, but you do. You can see the sun set behind a mountain and feel awe. You can watch the moon rise and feel stillness. You can hear the echo of a distant galaxy in the quiet of your own soul. And that capacity to feel wonder, to know that you are here, is perhaps the most extraordinary thing the universe has ever produced. So let your life be a celebration of that awareness. Let your breath be a quiet tribute to the stars. Let your thoughts be guided by curiosity and your heart by gratitude. You are not just a witness, you are a part of the story. You are a light in the dark, a question in the silence, a rare, conscious observer in a universe that is endlessly unfolding. And you, simply by noticing it, make it more complete. The forgotten miracle paradox. A single heartbeat is enough to sustain life, yet it's so automatic we forget to marvel at it. There is a sound within you that never rests, never pauses, never asks for recognition. It begins before you are born, and if all goes well, it continues faithfully until your very last moment. It is the sound of your heart, the gentle thump of life itself, echoing quietly through your chest, unnoticed most of the time, yet carrying out one of the most sacred responsibilities of existence. A single heartbeat is enough to sustain life. Just one contraction, one movement of muscle, is enough to send blood, warmth, and oxygen flowing through your body. And yet, because it happens automatically, we rarely stop to honor it. Think about that. You live because your heart moves. It beats without instruction. It pumps without applause. You do not tell it to begin when you wake or to stop when you sleep. You do not manually activate it when you're in danger or calm it when you're safe. It simply beats, through laughter, through sorrow, through stillness and chaos alike. It adapts in real time. It speeds up when you run, slows down when you rest, shifts with emotion, with fear, with love. It responds to your every moment, and it never once complains. Your heart is made of muscle, but it is so much more than tissue. It is a metronome of life. It keeps rhythm for every system in your body. Blood flows because it beats. Organs function because it delivers what they need. The brain thinks, the skin heals, the lungs breathe, all because the heart is doing its quiet, invisible job. And it does this not once, not twice, but about 100,000 times per day. Over a lifetime, that adds up to more than 2 billion heartbeats. 2 billion chances to live. 2 billion reminders that something inside you is working on your behalf. Even when you forget, it exists. In childhood, we don't think of it. In adulthood, we ignore it. We become so used to the fact that we're alive that we stop noticing what makes that possible. We place our attention on goals, distractions, complications. But beneath all of that, the heart continues. It is the first to form in the womb, and often the last to stop at death. It is the bookend of your experience, the first drumbeat of life, the final hush of stillness. Everything in between is made possible by its steady rhythm. And though we call it automatic, that doesn't mean it lacks depth. The heart is not just a machine, it is a messenger. It speaks to your emotional life in ways the mind cannot. It races when you're afraid, stutters when you're overwhelmed, softens when you're held. You feel heartbreak not just in metaphor but in sensation. You feel love not just in thoughts but in that deep pulse within your chest. Your heart responds to touch, to words, to memories. It listens in its own way, and it speaks in the language of rhythm and flow. There's a kind of poetry in that, a biological rhythm that mirrors the rhythm of being alive. Inhale, exhale, beat, rest, awake, asleep. Everything in nature moves in cycles, and the heart is no different. Its beat is a quiet nod to the cycles that govern the moon, the tides, the seasons. You are part of that greater rhythm, and the heart is your personal conductor. It keeps you in time with the pulse of life itself, and it is resilient. The heart can endure pain, injury, even moments of trauma, and still go on. It is capable of healing itself, of growing stronger under pressure. It adapts to challenges. When you exercise, it grows more efficient. When you grieve, it keeps beating, even through the heaviness. When you are tired, afraid, or lost, it reminds you, softly, steadily, that you are still here. You are still alive. You are still capable of beginning again. But how often do we thank it? How often do we sit quietly and listen to it, placing a hand on our chest, just to feel the truth of our existence pulsing beneath our skin? How often do we marvel at the miracle of motion, the silent choreography of chambers and valves that makes everything else possible? Rarely, because it's always there, because we think we have forever. Yet every heartbeat is a gift. Not one is guaranteed, not one is trivial. Each one is a continuation of the miracle that began before you had words to name it. And one day the heart will stop, not as a punishment, but as a part of the natural order. Even the most faithful rhythms end, but until that moment, it continues, giving, working, holding the entirety of your experience in its rhythmic grasp. There is something humbling in that, something deeply human. We often search for meaning in the grand, the loud, the extraordinary, but meaning also lives in the small, the constant, the unnoticed. Meaning lives in your heartbeat. It lives in the fact that something inside you has been keeping time since before you opened your eyes. It lives in the realization that this one pulse, this one beat, this 1 second is enough. Not because it is perfect, but because it is present. And your heart is not alone. It works in concert with a vast internal orchestra. Your lungs draw in air. Your blood vessels stretch thousands of miles, reaching every part of you. Your nervous system sends signals, your brain interprets them, your muscles act on them, all coordinated with your heartbeat. But without that beat, nothing else plays. It is the root note, the foundation, the first sound that allows every other note to follow. This is why moments of stillness are so powerful. When you stop, when you breathe deeply, when you become quiet enough to feel your heart again, you reconnect with what is essential. You remember that being alive is not about performance, not about perfection, but about presence. Your heart doesn't ask you to be more, it asks you to listen, to feel, to be. In those quiet moments, you may realize something else, that the heart connects not only systems within the body, but people beyond it. When you hold someone's hand, when you hug, when you share silence with someone you love, your hearts begin to synchronize. It's been measured. The rhythms align, your bodies find harmony. The heart is not just a solitary engine, it is a social one. It reaches out, it resonates, it connects. And even when broken, emotionally, metaphorically, it continues. That is its power. That is its message. That healing is not about erasing pain, but about continuing through it. That strength is not about never faltering, but about returning to rhythm after chaos. That love, real love, can be measured in more than words. It can be felt in a simple, steady beat. So let us pause. Let us notice. Let us place a hand on our chest and feel that quiet thump, the sound of survival, of resilience, of possibility. Let us remember that beneath the noise, beneath the stories, beneath the striving, we are beings with hearts. Beings who beat. Beings who continue. A single heartbeat is enough to sustain life, and that life, however simple or complex, is sacred, not because it is rare, but because it is yours, and because it continues, even when you're not watching, even when you're afraid, even when you forget it's there. Today, as you move through the hours, try to remember it. Try to thank it. Try to honor the work it does, the peace it offers, the message it carries, that you are alive, that you are becoming, that you are, in this moment, enough. The never-repeated snowfall paradox. If every snowflake is unique, then no snowfall in history has ever been repeated. It begins quietly, a hush in the air, a shift in light. The sky softens as if holding its breath, and then it happens. Snow begins to fall. Tiny, glinting crystals drift from above like delicate whispers from the heavens. They touch the world gently, reshaping rooftops, blanketing trees, and softening streets with silent precision. Each flake dances its own path, spinning, twisting, tumbling through invisible currents of wind. It is a sight that feels timeless, a rhythm as old as memory. And yet, when you look closely, a deeper truth reveals itself. No two of these flakes are the same. And if that is so, then no snowfall that has ever graced the earth has ever been repeated. This thought is almost too vast to hold. Consider the age of the planet, the billions of winters that have come and gone, the infinite skies that have released storms upon forests, mountains, cities, and fields. Snow has fallen on pharaohs and peasants, on poets and strangers, on lovers and the lost. It has buried battlefields, crowned cathedrals, hushed villages, and in every instance, without exception, it has done so with a pattern of uniqueness that defies repetition. Not one flake from centuries past is the twin of any flake falling now. Nature, it seems, never repeats itself. It only creates anew. How is this possible? A snowflake forms when water vapor in the sky condenses around a speck of dust or pollen. As it falls through layers of varying temperature and humidity, it grows in shape, forming branches and spines in exquisite symmetry. But the exact path it travels, the journey it takes down through the air, is never the same. The conditions it meets shift constantly, shaping its design in a way no other flake will encounter. What results is a tiny sculpture of complexity, invisible to the naked eye, but mathematically improbable to replicate. In a single storm, there are trillions upon trillions of flakes, and still, each one is singular. And yet, we often miss this. We see snow as uniform, as a sheet of sameness spread across the earth. But this is an illusion of distance. When you look closer, you see that it is a mosaic of individuality. Each flake holds a brief existence, falling quietly, landing softly, melting quickly. It may last seconds or hours, but it does not last forever. Snow is not only unique, it is fleeting. It is a moment that vanishes as soon as it arrives, and that is part of its wonder. If every flake is unrepeatable, then every snowfall is a performance that will never occur again. Not in the same way, not with the same players. It is a one-time event, a gathering of countless individuals drifting in unison, only to disappear without a trace. The snow you walked through last winter will never fall again. The snowstorm you watched from your window as a child is gone, never to be seen again, not even by the universe that made it. That uniqueness is a quiet miracle, happening constantly, humbly, and often without notice. This truth offers us more than scientific curiosity. It offers us a metaphor for our lives. Because, like snowflakes, no two people are the same. No two moments are the same. You are not the same person today that you were yesterday, and the day you are living now will never happen again. The conversation you have, the breath you take, the way the light falls through the window, none of it will repeat. Life is not a rehearsal. It is a cascade of once-only moments, unfolding in real time. Snow reminds us of this. It slows the world down. It hushes the noise. It covers the familiar in mystery. Streets we've walked 1,000 times become transformed. Footsteps are erased. Everything becomes new. This is not illusion, it is reminder that nothing stays the same, that beauty can emerge from stillness, that the ordinary can become extraordinary when we choose to see it closely. Think of the first snow of the season, how it stops people in their tracks, how it draws them to windows, how it quiets the world for a moment. Even those who dislike the cold cannot help but notice. There is something sacred in that first fall, something that taps into memory, into wonder, into the child still alive in all of us. And perhaps part of that awe comes from knowing, even if unconsciously, that what we're witnessing is unrepeatable, that these flakes, this moment, this hush, will never happen in the same way again. This awareness can change the way we move through life. It can teach us to notice more, to honor the moments we often rush through, to pause and pay attention not just to snow, but to each other. Because if snowflakes are never the same, then people too are uniquely shaped by invisible forces. Our lives are carved by winds of joy and sorrow, by layers of experience, by unseen currents of time and choice. We fall through the world not knowing where we'll land, but always being changed by the journey. And like snow, we don't last forever. We melt, we fade, we pass on. But that does not make us less valuable. It makes us more so. The briefness of our presence is what gives it meaning. Snow does not need to last to matter. It does not need to be remembered to be real. Its beauty lies in its very impermanence. So too with us. We are not here to be permanent. We are here to be present. Each time you see snow, you are seeing the universe create without repetition. You are witnessing nature's infinite imagination, and you are reminded that creativity is not a finite resource. The world does not run out of wonder. It continues to invent, to shape, to decorate the earth in new and unrepeatable ways. If that is true for snow, then it is also true for us. We, too, can be creators of unique beauty. We too can offer something that has never existed before, ourselves. Ooh. There is a comfort in knowing that the snow falling today has never fallen before and will never fall again. It gives permission to appreciate it fully, not tomorrow, not later, now. To step into it, to feel it on your face, to watch it gather on branches and soften the world, to marvel not only at its presence, but at the infinite labor that went into its making. A snowfall is not just weather, it is an event, a spontaneous act of artistry on a planetary scale. And when it ends, as all storms do, we are left with a landscape transformed. And even as the flakes melt, they leave behind moisture that feeds the earth, that seeps into roots, that becomes part of the next season's bloom. In this way, snow does not end. It continues, changed in form but not in essence. Like us, it transforms. Like us, it becomes part of something greater. So, the next time snow begins to fall, let yourself feel its uniqueness. Let yourself be still enough to notice. Let yourself remember that you are witnessing something that has never happened before and will never happen again. Let it teach you to honor this moment, this hour, this breath, this thought, for it too is unique, unrepeatable, and fading even now into the past. In a world that often feels repetitive, predictable, and rushed, snowfall reminds us of the truth. Nothing is ever the same. Every moment is a fresh creation. Every day brings its own shape. We are living in a storm of singularity, drifting through a universe that never copies itself. And that, more than anything, is what makes life beautiful, the private reality paradox. Your mind is the only place where your version of reality exists, completely unique from anyone else's. Inside your head, behind your eyes, beneath layers of thought, memory, and sensation, there is a world that no one else will ever fully know. It is a private universe, handcrafted from everything you've seen, heard, felt, believed, and dreamed. It is your version of reality. It is stitched together not by facts alone, but by perspective, by interpretation, by emotion, and it is utterly, completely, undeniably unique. There has never been, and will never be, another reality exactly like the one that lives inside you. Every moment you experience is filtered through your senses, processed by your brain, and colored by your past. What you see is not just what your eyes take in, but what your mind decides is important. What you hear is shaped by language, by attention, by emotion. Even your memories are not exact recordings, but reconstructions, made anew each time you recall them, shifting slightly with mood, with meaning, with the context of today. Your inner world is not a mirror of the outer world, it is a painting, a mosaic, a story constantly revised. And because your mind is so uniquely shaped, your reality is not interchangeable with anyone else's. Two people can walk through the same city, live in the same house, speak the same words, and still their realities remain profoundly different. One may find joy where the other feels sorrow. One may carry fear in places the other feels safe. This isn't because one is right and the other wrong. It's because we each build our version of the world based on the materials we've gathered from our own lives. Consider the concept of a sunset. Scientifically, it's a result of the Earth's rotation and the scattering of light. But inside your mind, it is more. It may be a symbol of endings, of peace, of childhood memories, of longing. Someone else might see the same sky and feel something entirely different: anticipation, loneliness, awe. The event is the same, the experience is not, and that difference is the essence of your personal reality. This uniqueness goes deeper than thoughts and feelings. It lives in the way you connect ideas, in the symbols you assign to things, in the patterns your mind favors. Some people see numbers as colors. Others hear music and feel emotion in waves too powerful to explain. Some think in images, others in words. others in textures or rhythms. Your consciousness is a fingerprint, not just of your biology, but of your journey. Every joy, every heartbreak, every conversation, every silence has shaped the way your reality unfolds. And yet, we often forget this. We assume that others see the world as we do, that they understand our pain, our joy, our fears, but they don't, not exactly. They can empathize, they can imagine, but they cannot step inside your reality, just as you cannot fully step into theirs. This is not a failure, it is a fact. It's what makes connection so precious. When someone reaches across the divide of perception and truly listens, truly sees, they are not just hearing words, they are entering a world built from another's mind, with its own rules, textures, and truths. Your version of reality is built from countless invisible threads. Some come from culture, some from family, some from chance. A single sentence said to you in childhood may echo in the decisions you make decades later. A smell might trigger a memory that reshapes your whole day. A look, a song, a quiet morning, all can ripple through your mind in ways no one else would ever guess. You are living in a network of associations, of meaning, of internal language that belongs only to you. This doesn't mean you are alone. In fact, it's what makes connection meaningful. When you share your reality with someone else, when you describe your inner world and they listen with openness, you are offering a rare gift. You are revealing a landscape no one else has ever seen, and when you listen to someone else's world, without judgment, you become a traveler in another universe. These exchanges are not just communication, they are acts of translation, of trust, of love. But your mind also contains illusions. It creates stories to make sense of things. It fills in gaps, edits memories, protects you from pain, sometimes even deceives you in the name of comfort or control. You may believe something not because it's true, but because it fits your story. You may overlook something real because your mind says it's irrelevant. This doesn't mean your reality is false, it means it is human, flexible, malleable, alive. And because your reality is alive, it can evolve. It changes as you change. It expands when you learn, when you heal, when you open yourself to new ideas. The walls of your mind can widen to let in more light. Your version of the world can soften, shift, deepen. You are not trapped in your perspective. You are the artist behind it. You can redraw the lines, repaint the scenes, rewrite the rules. That is one of the great powers of being conscious. The ability to not only witness reality but to shape it, to decide what stories you tell yourself, to choose which voices to believe, to question the lens through which you see the world, and in doing so, to grow, to transform, to become someone who sees not just with the eyes, but with wisdom. Your mind is also the keeper of your dreams. Within it live visions no one else will ever have, images, ideas, futures that only you can imagine. These dreams are not random. They are clues. They are whispers from the deepest parts of you, pointing toward what matters, what you long for, what you're capable of. When you honor them, you are not escaping reality, you are enriching it. And then there are the quiet places in your mind, the parts no one sees, the questions you ask in solitude, the memories that visit you uninvited, the thoughts that drift through when you lie awake. These moments, these fragments, are part of your private truth. You don't need to explain them. You don't need to share them unless you choose to. They are yours, and they make you who you are. When you understand that everyone else lives in their own version of reality too, it becomes easier to have compassion. You realize that people don't act from facts alone, but from feeling, from perception, from inner stories you can't see. Someone's anger may be rooted in fear. Someone's silence may hold grief. Everyone is navigating a world invisible to you, and you to them. This perspective doesn't solve everything, but it invites patience. It invites curiosity. It asks you to look again, to listen more carefully, to question your own assumptions. It reminds you that truth is often layered, that understanding takes effort, and that connection is not about sameness, but about bridging differences. Your reality is not wrong because it differs from others. It is not broken because it is personal. It is your lens, your compass, your home. And while it can be expanded, it should never be erased. You are not meant to see the world as everyone else does. You are meant to see it through your eyes, and in doing so, to offer something the world has never seen before. Your version of reality contains colors no one else perceives, feelings no one else will ever fully grasp, moments of insight that may never be spoken aloud but still shape your entire life. And all of it is valid. All of it matters. Because it is real to you. In the end, reality is not just what happens. It's how you experience what happens. It's the meaning you give, the attention you offer, the memory you keep. And if your mind is the only place where your version of reality exists, then it is the most sacred place you will ever inhabit. So tend to it gently. Question it, yes, but also cherish it. Explore it. Expand it. Know that within it lives a world that no one else will ever fully walk, and know that, in that very fact, you are extraordinary. The stillness in motion paradox. Gravity binds planets and galaxies, and also holds your body gently against your bed as you drift off. Every night as you lie down to rest, there is a silent force embracing you, steady, patient, and absolute. It is gravity, the invisible companion that cradles you without noise or motion, anchoring you softly to the earth as you slip into sleep. You don't feel it pulling, you don't hear it working, and yet it is there, holding you close in the most subtle of ways. What we often overlook as mundane is in fact a fundamental thread in the fabric of the cosmos. Gravity, the same force that governs the motion of planets and binds entire galaxies together, is also the quiet presence that allows you to relax, to let go, and to drift away into the comfort of dreams. This simple act of lying still, of sinking into a bed or a pillow, is a physical expression of the universe's order. You are not floating into the sky, not drifting into the chaos of the void. You are gently held. The same law that curves the path of a comet or gives orbit to the moon also keeps your blanket settled around you and your body pressed softly against the mattress. It connects the grand with the intimate, the infinite with the personal. Gravity does not discriminate. It acts everywhere. It is the same whether you are a planet or a person, a star, or a child falling asleep. Imagine that. The force responsible for stars clustering into galaxies and galaxies drifting in clusters through space is the very same force that keeps your feet planted on the ground, that allows your coffee to sit in a cup, that enables water to flow and trees to grow upright. And yet, it is not loud. It does not announce itself. It has no scent, no color, no sound. It simply is. A quiet pull. A constant companion. Gravity is what made stars possible. Without it, the universe would be a scattered field of floating atoms. But gravity brought them together, pulled hydrogen into dense balls, sparked nuclear fusion, and gave birth to light. That same light, traveling across the void for millions of years, eventually reaches your eyes. And the body that receives it, that looks up at the stars, is also shaped by gravity. Your bones are strong because they grew under its influence. Your blood flows downward because gravity guides it. The balance in your steps, the rhythm of your walk, the ease with which you sit or lie down, all made possible by the gentle persistence of this unseen force. And when the day is done, and you lay your head on a pillow, you are not falling, you are resting into the earth's embrace. You don't think about it. You don't need to. Gravity is dependable. It asks nothing. It does not tire. It does not switch off. While your mind winds down and your body softens, gravity continues its ancient duty, pressing you downward, not harshly, but like a mother's hand against your back, reassuring, and still. There's a comfort in that, in knowing that as you close your eyes, you're not drifting. You're not alone in space. You're grounded, connected, supported. Your body yields to it naturally. It doesn't resist. It knows, without thinking, that it's safe to rest here. And perhaps that is what sleep really is. A surrender not just of thought, but of weight. A gentle agreement with gravity to hold you while you dream. Even dreams themselves are shaped in part by gravity. The brain, the blood, the rhythms of your body, all settle more deeply as gravity pulls fluids downward, shifting the way you feel, the way you breathe, the way your organs rest. Lying flat is not merely a position, it is a signal, a message to the body that it's time to release, to trust the earth, to let something deeper take over. The bed does not rise to meet you. You descend into it slowly, naturally, as if returning to something you never truly left. And as you fall asleep, you may forget where you are. You may drift into landscapes of the mind, into memories and visions that defy physics. But the body stays. It does not float away, it does not rise or unravel. It remains tethered, quiet, still. Even in dreams of flight, the body lies grounded. Even in imagined freedom, gravity does not abandon you. It gives your stillness meaning. It gives your rest depth. There's something poetic in the idea that the same force that guides the arc of distant planets also lulls you to sleep. The same invisible thread that binds Jupiter's moons is at work when you nestle under a blanket. The orbits we see in the sky are mirrored in the rhythms of our rest. Celestial bodies revolve, and our bodies revolve through cycles of waking and sleep, of tension and release. Gravity governs both, and yet we rarely thank it, rarely notice it. We talk about love and time and memory, but gravity, this constant partner, goes unnamed. It is the reason you aren't flung into the sky when you jump. It is the reason raindrops fall. It is the reason your heart knows how to pump blood efficiently, knowing which way is up and which is down. It is the reason that when all else fails, you can still lie down, still be held, still rest. In space, where gravity loosens its grip, astronauts learn what we take for granted. Sleep becomes a challenge. Orientation loses its meaning. Blood pools in strange places, muscles grow weak. The very body evolved to trust gravity becomes uncertain without it. And yet here, on Earth, gravity is always present, always consistent. It lets you rest without worry. It lets you drift without drifting away. And what of the symbolic weight of gravity? It does not just hold your body, it gives shape to meaning. When we speak of heavy thoughts, of being grounded in truth, of falling in love, we speak the language of gravity. Even our emotions are described in physical terms, uplifted, burdened, carried, weighted. Perhaps we know, deep down, that existence is not weightless, that life has gravity, that being here in this body on this earth is not something light, it is something real, and gravity is the thread that ties it all together. So the next time you lie down, feel it. Feel the way your body settles, the way your chest rises and falls under the blanket of air, the way your limbs grow heavy not with exhaustion, but with peace. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be lowered gently into rest. You do not need to float. You are meant to be here. You are not falling. You are being drawn home. And as you drift off, you are not separate from the stars. You are aligned with them. You are part of the same system. The same laws that keep Saturn in orbit are at work in your sleep. The same equations that describe galaxies also describe your heartbeat. You are not outside the universe, you are inside it. And gravity, soft and silent, is your invitation to rest within it. The invisible bridge paradox. Language lets us send thoughts into someone else's mind. Words are like invisible bridges. There is a quiet miracle happening every time we speak. With nothing more than breath, muscle, and memory, we shape sound into meaning, and in doing so, we bridge the space between two minds. A thought begins in silence, an image, a feeling, a memory, a question. It lives in your head, surrounded by the context of your experience, shaped by your emotions and your inner world. But then, using language, you give it form. You wrap it in syllables and structure, in tone and timing, and send it outward. Someone else hears, and with luck and shared understanding, they receive that thought. They decode it. They reconstruct it within their own mind. And suddenly, something that was once locked inside you lives in another. That is what words do. They are invisible bridges from one consciousness to another. Think about how astonishing that is. We are isolated beings, enclosed in separate bodies with separate memories and inner lives. We cannot see directly into someone else's mind. We cannot feel their feelings or recall their past. And yet, with language, we create a connection that defies that separation. We can describe what we see, explain what we know, confess what we feel. And when another person listens, truly listens, they become a mirror to your mind. They hold a version of your thought within their own. It's not identical, of course. It is filtered through their language, their memories, their associations. But it is close enough that for a moment, you are not alone in your experience. Language is how we share the unshareable. It is how we reach across the invisible walls between people and say, "This is what I mean. This is what I feel. This is what I see." It is the bridge between isolation and empathy, the medium through which stories pass, ideas spread, and emotions travel. Without language, we would still feel joy, pain, wonder, but we could not offer them to each other. We could not transform them into something shared, something held in common. Language is not just a tool, it is a lifeline. It begins early. A baby's first coo is the beginning of a lifetime of bridge building. We teach children to name their world, tree, sky, love, home, and as they do, they begin to assemble a reality they can share. They begin to point and say, "Look." They begin to ask, "Why?" They begin to say, "Me too." And so language becomes a map, a guide, a mirror. It lets us align our thoughts with others, and through that alignment, we build society, culture. But language is not perfect. It stumbles, it leaks. Sometimes what we say is not what we mean. Sometimes words fall short of the experience. You try to describe a dream, a heartbreak, a strange intuition, and the words feel too small, too blunt, too slow. And yet, even in their imperfection, they matter. Because they are an attempt, they are an invitation. They are the scaffolding on which we hang meaning. And sometimes, even a broken bridge is enough to cross. Consider how a poem can move you. A song lyric can echo in your mind for years. A conversation, even brief, can shift your perspective forever. This is the magic of words. They are not just sounds, they are carriers of emotion, vessels of memory. A single phrase can unlock a hidden part of your heart. A simple sentence spoken at the right moment can change the course of a life. And often, it is not the complexity of the language that matters, but the sincerity behind it. Truth travels better when wrapped in clarity, in honesty, in care. When we speak, we are offering a part of ourselves. We are opening a door and saying, "Come, see." We are letting others into our thoughts, our histories, our hopes. And when they accept, when they nod or smile or reply, they walk across the bridge we've built. They meet us in the middle. And there, between speaker and listener, something sacred happens. Understanding. Connection. Even silence can be part of language. A pause, a sigh, a glance, these too are bridges. They say what words cannot. They carry meaning just as surely as speech does. Body language, tone, rhythm, These are the subtle currents beneath the surface of spoken words. And the best communicators are not just good speakers, they are good listeners. They sense the meaning beneath the message. They know that what is said is only part of what is meant. Language also gives us time travel. Through books, we read the thoughts of people long gone. We hear their voices across centuries. We learn what they feared, what they dreamed, what they believed. Their words have outlived their bodies, their empires, their mistakes. And yet we still sit with them, still hear them in our minds. The bridges they built are still standing, still traveled. And in that way, language is legacy. What you write, what you say, can ripple beyond you. Your voice can reach places your body never will. Your thoughts can nest in minds you've never met. This is a power we all have. Not just poets and authors, but every speaker, every storyteller, every parent whispering bedtime tales. Every time you speak with care, you are building a bridge that might outlast you. But language is not just for lofty ideas, it is also for the mundane. Pass the salt. I'm tired. Did you see the moon last night? Even these small exchanges are threads of connection. They remind us that we are not islands, that we are seen, heard, responded to, that we are not just minds in bodies, but minds in community, that we live not in silence, but in a network of voices. And yet, in a world full of words, we sometimes forget to listen. We scroll past each other's thoughts. We speak to reply, not to understand. We fill silence with noise, forgetting that real communication requires space, the space to hear, to feel, to absorb. In that rush, bridges are weakened, messages are missed. We lose the depth that language can offer. To speak well is not to speak much. It is to speak with intention, with clarity, with kindness. And to listen well is not to be silent, but to be present, to hold the space for another's thought to land. To say, I hear you, not just with words, but with attention. Language, at its best, does not divide, it unites. It says, here is my truth, tell me yours. It does not seek to win, but to understand. It does not fear difference, but embraces it as another form of reality. Because every person speaks from a different map, a different mind, and only by building bridges can we begin to travel to each other's worlds. Even within yourself, language builds bridges. It lets you reflect. It lets you name your feelings, clarify your thoughts, explore your past. The words you use with yourself matter. They shape your inner world. They guide your choices. They can lift or limit. The conversation you have with yourself is the most constant dialogue you'll ever know. And when you change that language, soften it, strengthen it, reshape it, you change your reality. So, treasure language, not as a tool of control, but as a gift of connection. Speak not just to be heard, but to reach. Listen not just to reply, but to receive. Write not just to record, but to reveal. And read not just for facts, but for understanding. Because every word is a thread, every sentence a bridge, every conversation a chance to be less alone. In the quiet space between two people, words are the beams that form the walkway. Thought crosses into thought, meaning settles into meaning, and something greater than either person is created. A shared moment, a shared reality, a glimpse of mutual knowing. That is the power of language, and it is yours to use every day. The sleeping light bulb paradox. Your brain generates electricity strong enough to power a small light bulb while you sleep. Even as your body lies still, your breath slow and deep, your mind is awake in ways you cannot see. In the quiet hours of sleep, while the world outside fades into darkness and silence, your brain hums with activity. It does not rest, it does not turn off. Instead, it shifts into a different kind of work, one that is silent, invisible, and astonishing. Deep within your skull, billions of neurons spark with electrical energy. Patterns of pulses rise and fall in waves. Entire circuits fire in coordination. And though your eyes are closed and your limbs are at peace, your brain is alive, generating enough electricity to power a small light bulb. This isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's a scientific truth. The human brain, even at rest, produces electrical activity measurable in watts. During sleep, particularly in the stages of dreaming, it remains incredibly active, almost as if rehearsing reality in silence. Though your body is resting, your brain is solving, imagining, remembering, cleansing, and restoring. It is rewiring circuits, rebalancing chemistry, and sorting through the millions of signals you've collected throughout the day. All of this takes energy. All of this involves movement, electrical, biological, cognitive. And the light it could power is more than metaphorical. It is the light of life itself. Every thought, every memory, every sensation you've ever had began as a tiny electrical impulse, a signal fired from one neuron to another, jumping across synapses, flowing through networks of consciousness. The brain contains over 86 billion neurons, each capable of firing dozens of times per second, creating a vast, dynamic web of activity that never truly stops. Even in the deepest sleep, even when you are unaware, the machinery hums on. Brainwaves ripple like tides, alpha, theta, delta, all oscillating with patterns that reflect your state of rest. This activity is electrical. It can be measured, it can be mapped, and it is powerful in both presence and purpose. The fact that you generate enough electricity in your brain to power a light bulb speaks volumes about who and what you are. You are not simply a body that sleeps. You are a being of energy and motion, even in stillness. The very organ that crafts your sense of self, your emotions, your identity, your dreams, never truly sleeps. It works gently in the background, repairing and reshaping the landscape of your inner world. It restores balance to your mood. It clears out toxins. It consolidates memory. It lets your subconscious wander. It prepares you to rise again with clarity. And this energy isn't chaos. It's organized. It flows in rhythmic, repeating patterns. Like electricity through a circuit board or music through a score, the brain pulses with meaning. Every time you think or feel or dream, you are lighting up a path inside yourself. And every night, even without conscious thought, these paths are revisited. Some are strengthened, some are softened, some are erased. This is the mind's way of maintaining itself, pruning what is no longer useful and reinforcing what is. We often imagine sleep as absence, as darkness, as a blank space in time, but sleep is a theater of internal brilliance. It is a time when your brain becomes the night's lighthouse, pulsing with signals that guide the ship of your body through still waters. This work is vital. Without it, your memory would falter, your emotions would fray, your health would decline. Sleep is not just rest, it is recalibration, made possible by the ongoing current flowing through your brain. It's humbling to realize that we are walking generators, biological engines powered by electrical pulses that emerge not from batteries or wires, but from life itself. And in the quietest hours, this current continues. Like a candle burning in the dark, your brain sustains its glow, not for light in a room, but for the light of continuity, of being. You remain, in every moment, alive with electricity. There's something deeply poetic in this truth, that you, a seemingly fragile being, contain the power to illuminate, that even when unconscious, you are lit from within, that something as complex as thought can come from something as elemental as a spark. Every dream you've ever had was powered by this energy, every moment of insight, every moment of peace. The same current that fires during worry also fires during love. It is neutral in source, but infinite in possibility. The brain doesn't store its electricity in one place. It flows across hemispheres, through lobes and networks. It dances from the prefrontal cortex, where decisions are made, to the amygdala, where emotion is born. It travels down pathways of memory, revisiting places, people, and stories long past. And while you sleep, it constructs simulations, vivid, surreal, deeply personal, fueled by the very same energy. What you see in dreams is not random. It is a creation, and like any creation, it takes power. And still, this electricity is gentle. It doesn't burn. It doesn't shock. It glows in a way only the brain can use. The neurons fire in cascades, in waves, in delicate pulses. The communication is precise, faster than any conscious thought could follow, and yet perfect in coordination. Millions of messages traveling each second, all of it so seamless, so quiet, so invisible, and yet it shapes every part of your waking and sleeping life. Even more beautiful is the idea that your brain's electricity connects you to others. The same way your mind pulses in sleep, so does the mind of everyone around you. A room full of sleeping people becomes a quiet constellation of firing neurons, of invisible lights glowing softly through the night. Though we cannot see it, we are surrounded by this energy, delicate, powerful, constant. Science is only beginning to understand the full complexity of this electricity. We can measure brainwaves, detect anomalies, track patterns, but the inner experience, the dreams, the feelings, the thoughts themselves, remain beyond the scope of wires and screens. They are private flickers within a vast system, experienced only by the one in whom they arise. Your light is yours alone, but it is still light, still real, still radiant. So the next time you lie down to rest, think about what continues. You may feel still, but your brain is active. You may feel silence, but there is motion. Your body surrenders to gravity, your breath slows, but your mind becomes electric. It powers the restoration of your memory, the cleansing of your mind, the regeneration of your soul. While you sleep, a tiny, tireless light shines inside your head. It is not a metaphor. It is physics. It is biology. It is you. And as you fall asleep, you are not switching off. You are shifting into another mode of being, one in which your conscious mind steps back and the deeper parts of your brain take over. The electrical energy doesn't fade. It flows in different ways, in different rhythms. It soothes, it sorts, it sings, and it lights the way through the dark inner corridors of the self. You are never truly in darkness, not as long as that spark continues. You are never truly alone, not as long as your mind glows with the same energy that fuels the stars, tiny, unceasing, ancient. The power in your brain is not just enough to run a light bulb. It's enough to power thought, imagination, love, and life itself. The expanding silence paradox. The universe is expanding, meaning even the quiet sky above you is in motion while you lie still. At night, you may look up and see stillness. The stars appear fixed in place, tiny pinpricks of light frozen against a deep black canvas. The moon glows softly. A few constellations form patterns your ancestors once knew. You feel quiet under that vast dome of sky. You feel small but grounded. And yet, what your senses offer is not the truth of what is happening. The sky is not still. It never has been. It only appears so because your perception is slow, your scale limited, your body resting while space itself stretches in all directions. Even as you lie motionless beneath the stars, the universe is expanding. This expansion is not a poetic idea. It is not metaphor or guesswork. It is one of the most well-confirmed truths in cosmology. Since the moment of the Big Bang, over 13 billion years ago, space itself has been growing, not pushing outward into something else, but stretching from within. Galaxies are not flying through pre-existing space like sparks from a fire. Space itself is carrying them apart. The distances between clusters of galaxies are growing not because of motion through space, but because space is expanding beneath them. And this expansion has never stopped. Even now, as you read these words or lie quietly in bed, the space between galaxies is growing. The very atoms in your body, forged from ancient stars, are suspended in a universe that grows ever wider. You do not feel it, you do not see it, but it happens nonetheless. The night may seem quiet, but it is not static. You are floating on a planet that spins while orbiting a star that circles the center of a galaxy which itself drifts through the expanding cosmos, and yet somehow you feel still. There's something profoundly beautiful about this. That stillness is not the absence of motion, it is the acceptance of it. The stillness you feel is not because the world isn't moving, but because the motion is so vast, so constant, so all-encompassing that it becomes invisible. Like a boat floating on a vast ocean, you may feel calm even though the current beneath you stretch for thousands of miles. Your heartbeat slows, your breath softens, and above you the stars seem quiet, but the fabric of space itself is swelling. This expansion is not violent, it is gentle. Measured in units called the Hubble constant, it reveals a truth about the nature of everything. That distance grows with time. That separation is built into the cosmos. That nothing remains as it was. Even light, which travels faster than anything else we know, must stretch as it travels. The light from distant galaxies arrives redder than when it began. Its wavelength expanded by this red shift is the fingerprint of expansion, and it tells us even the light we see has been changed by motion. When you look at the night sky, you are not just looking into space, you are looking into time. Some of the stars you see are hundreds or thousands of light years away. The light you receive tonight left its source long before your great-grandparents were born. In fact, some of the stars you see may no longer exist at all. They may have collapsed, gone dark, turned to ash, but their light still travels, still arrives, still tells the story of what once was. You are not seeing the sky as it is. You are seeing echoes, remnants, memories sent across the fabric of expanding space. And yet, even within this vast, shifting, ancient theater, you exist. You lie still, breathing, warm under a blanket or curled beneath the weight of sleep. Your thoughts slow, your muscles release, and above you the entire universe continues to unfold. Planets spin, stars burn, galaxies drift farther and farther apart, quietly, endlessly. But in this moment, you are safe, anchored. You are held by gravity, pulled gently to the Earth's surface, even as everything around you flows. It is easy to feel insignificant in the face of such enormity, to think, how can I matter when the cosmos is so vast? But perhaps it is the very fact that you are aware of this expansion, that you can think about it, wonder about it, feel something in response to it, that makes you extraordinary. You are not a passive witness, you are a conscious one. You are the product of billions of years of cosmic unfolding, and you are capable of wondering what it means. That awareness is not small, it is luminous. Expansion is not chaos, it is not destruction, it is change. It is space making room for possibility, for new stars, new galaxies, new futures. The universe does not contract in fear, it expands in promise. It opens always, giving more space for light, for time, for the unknown. And in this ever-growing web of stars and silence, you are a moment of knowing, a point of observation, a question wrapped in skin, a being who rests while the cosmos flows around you. Even sleep, in a way, mirrors expansion. You let go of the tight thoughts of waking life. You release the tension in your limbs. You drift, not through space, but through stages of consciousness. Dreams unfold, images emerge, the mind expands, exploring rooms it does not visit while awake. In sleep, we surrender to something greater than will. We trust the world to hold us, and it does. The earth spins, the stars shine, The universe expands, and still you rest. The expansion of space means that most galaxies will eventually slip beyond our view. They will move so far, so fast, that their light can no longer reach us. They will vanish, not because they are gone, but because the distance between us has grown too wide. One day, the night sky may grow quieter, lonelier, darker. The evidence of the Big Bang itself may fade, and yet, here and now, you are alive, at a time when the universe is still visible, still legible, still offering its secrets in waves of light and gravity and time. To be alive in such a moment is to be present at a rare window in cosmic history. You can witness the expansion, you can measure it, you can feel awe in the face of it. You can know in the quiet of your own thoughts that motion never stops, even when your eyes are closed, even when the world around you is silent. The universe does not need your awareness to expand. It gives it voice, it makes it known. So the next time you lie down and the world slows and you feel your body soften into stillness, remember, the sky above you is not idle. It is stretching, growing, breathing in its own silent way. And you, though seemingly still, are part of that motion. You are riding a planet spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting a star moving at 67,000 miles per hour through a galaxy that itself drifts outward, away from all other. You are in motion, even when you feel still. You are expanding, even when you think you are resting. Stillness and movement are not opposites, they are companions. The stillness you feel is the surface of deeper motion. The expansion of the universe is the canvas upon which your life unfolds. It is not distant. It is not separate. It is the space between atoms, the stretch of time, the breath between thoughts. It is here, it is now, and it continues. In the quiet, you are never alone. You are accompanied by ancient light, by drifting galaxies, by the pulse of the universe, forever stretching, forever expanding, forever inviting you to wonder. Let that wonder wrap around you. Let it calm you. Let it remind you that even as you lie still, the sky is moving, and you are moving with it. The dancing cloud paradox. Clouds look soft and still, but they are made of countless floating water droplets dancing in the air. Look up and you may see them drifting gently across the sky, white, glowing shapes with no sharp edges and no solid form. They appear as if painted onto the blue canvas above, serene and motionless, suspended in quiet beauty. Clouds, with their soft contours and cotton-like appearance, seem to exist outside of time. They give the illusion of stillness, of simplicity, but in truth, they are anything but still. They are not made of fluff or smoke or vaporous illusion. They are made of water, countless, minuscule droplets, each weightless enough to float, each in constant motion, dancing together in delicate unity. A single cloud may contain millions of tiny droplets, so small they are invisible to the eye, and yet together they become visible, not because they are solid, but because light scatters as it passes through them. What looks like a singular shape is actually a restless community of moisture, constantly forming, shifting, dispersing. Each droplet exists in a dance with gravity and air, held aloft by the invisible architecture of wind and pressure. The softness you see is an illusion created by the vastness of their number and the harmony of their movement. Clouds are a lesson in balance. Water rises from the earth as vapor, warmed by sunlight, invisible in its earliest form. As it ascends and cools, it begins to condense around microscopic particles, dust, salt, pollen, forming droplets that cling together in clusters. Too heavy to remain vapor, but too light to fall, they hover in suspension, and from the ground we watch them float as if untethered, unaware of the complex choreography that keeps them from raining down or vanishing completely. A cloud, then, is not an object. It is an event, a momentary gathering of water and air in perfect proportion. They move, even when they seem still. Air currents carry them silently across the sky, changing their shape as they go. From the ground, the movement may seem slow, imperceptible, but from within the cloud it is alive with swirling winds, with updrafts and turbulence. Some clouds rise like towers, expanding vertically with energy and force. Others stretch thin and wide, creating veils that shade the earth in silvery calm. Some are low and heavy, thick with the promise of rain. Others are high and wispy, brushing the stratosphere like strokes of a celestial brush. Their forms are never permanent. A cloud may begin as one thing and end as another. It may dissolve in minutes or linger for hours, shifting shape with every breath of wind. It is this impermanence that gives clouds their mystique. You may look away for a moment, and when you look back, the cloud you saw is gone, transformed, displaced, merged into another. They are the sky's expression of change, always in flux, always becoming. And yet, even in their transience, they offer comfort. They remind us that beauty does not need to last, to matter. Children often lie in the grass and find shapes in clouds, animals, faces, castles, dreams. Adults too are drawn to their gentle movement, their endless variety. Something in us responds to their quietness, their softness, their unhurried pace. They do not rush. They do not cling. They come and go without resistance. Perhaps it is this freedom that we long for, the ability to float, to shift, to simply be, without needing to stay the same. But clouds also carry power. A storm begins with a single cloud, darkening as it gathers more moisture, rising as warm air feeds it from below. Lightning may flash within it, thunder may rumble from its depths, rain may pour, or snow, or hail. What began as light and soft can become heavy and loud, and yet even this drama is part of the same process. The same droplets that once danced in the breeze now return to the earth, pulled by gravity, falling as part of the cycle that sustains all life. That cycle is ancient. The water in clouds has been here for billions of years. The same molecules have passed through rivers and oceans, through the breath of animals, through the leaves of trees. They rise, condense, fall, and rise again. Every drop is on a journey, and clouds are a part of that passage. They are not separate from the earth, but connected to it in a constant exchange. And in watching them, we are watching the planet breathe. It's easy to forget what they're made of, to look up and see only shapes and shadows. But inside every cloud are the basic elements of life: water, air, sunlight, held in harmony, held in suspension. The softness we see is the outer skin of an inner dance, an intricate relationship between temperature, humidity, and pressure. Scientists can describe these interactions in detail, but even the most precise explanation cannot capture the feeling of standing beneath a sky brushed with light and movement. Sometimes clouds bring shade on a hot day, a welcome relief. Sometimes they bring the darkness before a storm. Sometimes they scatter the sunlight into color, sunsets and sunrises glowing with fire and gold. Sometimes they reflect the moonlight at night, casting a silvery glow that turns the world quiet. They are never the same, and yet they are always familiar. They are the sky's language, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, but always meaningful. To lie beneath a sky of moving clouds is to be reminded of flow, of rhythm, of softness that contains structure. You are watching molecules perform a dance, billions of years in the making, and you are a part of it. The air you breathe, the rain you feel, the water you drink, all once floated as clouds held in invisible hands high above the ground. You are connected to them, not just in metaphor, but in matter. Clouds also remind us that we can be both light and strong, that we can be changeable and still beautiful, that we can carry things, memories, emotions, dreams without always having to let them fall. Like clouds, we are made of countless parts, each one small, each one essential. And like clouds, we are always in motion, even when we feel still. There is wisdom in watching clouds. They don't resist change. They don't hold themselves rigid. They shift with the wind, adapt to conditions, and trust the currents that move them. And yet, in their softness, there is integrity. They don't fall apart under pressure. They don't rush to become something else. They just are. And in that, there is a quiet strength. When we allow ourselves to float a little, when we release the need to fix, to grasp, to define, we become more like them, more attuned to the natural rhythms that guide us, more accepting of our ever-changing shape, more able to find beauty not in permanence, but in presence. So the next time you look up and see clouds scattered across the sky, remember what you are seeing. Not softness alone, but complexity. Not stillness, but motion. Not illusion, but truth made gentle. You are witnessing the dance of water and air, of light and shadow, of earth's breath made visible. And you, in your own way, are part of that dance. You too are made of water. You too are shaped by forces you cannot always see. You too are more than you appear, floating sometimes, shifting always, quietly, radiant. The Stardust Kinship Paradox. Every living creature on Earth shares the same ancient origin. We are all stardust molded by time. You are older than you think, not just in years or memory, but in substance. Long before you were born, before your parents, before the Earth itself, there were stars. Giant, burning furnaces of light and heat that lived for billions of years and then collapsed in explosions so powerful their contents were scattered across the cosmos. Those explosions did not end things, they began them. From their remnants came the elements that now make up everything you see. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your breath. You are made of stardust, literal stardust, and so is every living creature you have ever known. That truth is both humbling and breathtaking. It means that life did not arise from nothing. It arose from a long and patient unfolding, from a cosmic story written in dust and light, in heat and silence. When we say we are all connected, it's not just metaphor, it is chemistry, it is physics, it is the truth of our shared origin, carried in the atoms of every cell. The same hydrogen that fuels the stars flows through your vein. The same carbon that formed in the heart of a red giant lives in the trees, in the air, in your skin. Life is not separate from the universe. It is the universe, conscious of itself. The Earth formed from the debris of ancient stars, coalescing over millions of years into a spinning ball of rock, water, and air. In its early chaos, lightning struck oceans rich with minerals. Heat surged from beneath the surface, complex molecules began to form, first simple chains, then structures capable of replicating themselves. From this chemistry, life emerged, not suddenly, but slowly, growing more intricate over time. Cells became colonies, colonies became tissues, tissues became creatures, and from those creatures came awareness, movement, memory, instinct, thought. Through all of this, nothing was wasted. Atoms that once belonged to stars now belonged to fish, to forests, to mammals. They cycled endlessly, from one form to another, never lost. A tree breathes in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. An animal inhales that oxygen and exhales carbon. Rain falls, is absorbed by roots, travels upward into leaves, evaporates and begins again. Even when we die, our bodies return to the soil, and from that soil, new life emerges. Stardust to stardust, always returning, always transforming. This is the great miracle of life, that it is both ancient and new. You carry within you the history of the universe, and yet you are singular, never to be repeated. Your DNA contains echoes of every life that came before you, and yet it is arranged in a way that is entirely yours. And the same is true of the cat on your windowsill, the bird in the tree, the stranger walking by, the roots deep beneath the ground. We are made of the same materials, We are variations of the same story. It's easy to forget this when we look at the surface. A beetle looks nothing like a whale. A mushroom has no eyes. A human speaks, thinks, builds. But if you strip away the differences and look deeper, the similarities emerge. All life shares the same fundamental code, a language of nucleotides, repeating in patterns that direct how to build a body. From the simplest bacterium to the most complex organism, the blueprint is written in the same alphabet. Life is not a collection of separate events. It is a continuum, a thread of being stretched across time, woven into a tapestry of endless form. And time is the sculptor. Over billions of years, life has adapted, shifted, branched into countless shapes. Dinosaurs ruled for ages, then vanished, leaving room for mammals. Oceans gave birth to fish, which gave rise to limbs and lungs. Wings grew from forelimbs. Flowers opened under sunlight. Bees learned to dance. And always, life continued, not forward in a straight line, but outward in all directions, testing, evolving, becoming. This branching has created beauty and wonder beyond measure. Coral reefs teeming with color and complexity, forests breathing with ancient rhythm, Arctic foxes surviving in silence, bioluminescent creatures glowing in the deep sea. Each form, each function, each adaptation shaped by the slow hands of time. And each one made of the same ancient dust. Not a single organism escapes this origin. Not a single one stands alone. Even humans, with all our technology and self-awareness, are bound by this truth. We are not above nature. We are of it. Our intelligence is not a departure from the evolutionary story. It is a product of it. Our minds are the result of neurons that evolved to process sound, sight, and memory. Our language emerged from social need. Our empathy from the benefits of cooperation. Our dreams from the brain's endless capacity for pattern and imagination. We are not a break in the chain. We are a link shining with the same starlight as all others. And with this awareness comes responsibility. To know that we are connected to all living things means we must treat them with reverence. To know that we share our atoms with trees and whales and clouds means we cannot act as owners, only as stewards. The earth is not a resource to be used. It is a living expression of cosmic history, a sacred garden where stardust became aware of itself. And if we listen carefully, the wind in the trees, the song of birds, the rhythm of waves, all are reminders of our shared story. Even suffering, even death, fits into this cycle. It is not the end. It is transformation. When a tree falls, it feeds the soil. When a body dies, it nourishes new life. The atoms remain, they simply change form. There is grief in this, but also peace. Nothing is lost. Everything is remade. The stars died so we could live, and we, in time, return our light to the world. This truth is not cold, it is radiant. It means you are never truly alone. You are part of something vast, ancient, and ongoing. You are not just a person, but a moment in the universe's unfolding. You are a breath of stardust, walking, thinking, loving. You are the universe experiencing itself, seeing through eyes, feeling through skin, dreaming through mind. So when you touch a leaf, remember, you are touching the same carbon that once burned in a star. When you drink water, know that it has been part of rivers, clouds, creatures. When you look into another's eyes, see not just a person, but a fellow traveler on this ancient path. Life is not divided. It is reflected in countless forms, but it is one. Every living creature on Earth, whether crawling, swimming, flying, or rooted in place, shares this sacred inheritance. We are family, not in metaphor, but in molecular truth. We have diverged in shape, but not in source. We are different, but never separate, and in that, there is beauty beyond measure. So take a moment to breathe. Feel your chest rise. Feel your heartbeat. Know that what moves within you once lit up galaxies. Know that what you are is not small, not insignificant, but essential. A unique expression of the universe's desire to know itself. Stardust molded by time, made conscious, made alive. And that, in the quiet of the night or the stillness of morning, is enough. You are enough. The shared moon paradox. Right now, somewhere across the world, another person is staring at the same moon, thinking their own deep thoughts. It hangs there in the night sky like a quiet companion, timeless and still, glowing softly above rooftops, mountains, oceans, and fields. The moon does not choose where to shine. It offers its light freely, silently, to anyone who looks up. And every night, across the spinning surface of this vast and varied world, people do just that. They stop, pause, lift their gaze, and find their eyes drawn to that same ancient sphere of light. Right now, as you read these words or lie beneath the ceiling of your room, someone far away is doing the same, looking at the same moon, caught in a moment of their own deep thought. Perhaps they are standing on a balcony, arms resting on the railing, lost in the questions they never speak aloud. Perhaps they are sitting beside a campfire, staring through the trees as the smoke curls upward. Perhaps they are alone in a small room, lying on a bed near an open window, eyes tracing the shape of the moon's edge, wondering about the choices they've made or the dreams they've left behind. Whoever they are, wherever they live, whatever language they speak or path they walk, the moon is a bridge between you. It's easy to think of ourselves as separate, divided by oceans, borders, beliefs, and time zones. Your world feels personal, enclosed, your problems, your hopes, your memories. You live within the atmosphere of your own life. But the moon does not honor those separations. It offers no favoritism. It rises for all. It watches cities throb with light, deserts stretch into silence, waves crash against distant shores. It has no preference, no bias, and in doing so it reminds us that we all share something far more ancient than any map can show. The person on the other side of the world may have never met you. They may live in a land you've never seen, under customs you've never known, surrounded by sounds and scents completely unfamiliar. But they know the moon. They know what it is to stop and look upward, and feel something unexplainable move through the chest. A quietness, a longing, a clarity that comes not from answers, but from wonder. You feel it, they feel it, and that shared moment, however distant, connects you. There's a kind of comfort in that even when you feel most alone, you are not the only one looking up. The moon has seen countless eyes, countless thoughts projected onto its glowing face. Lovers have whispered onto it. Children have pointed at it. Poets have written to it. Astronomers have studied it, and the lonely have found solace in its silent presence. It reflects the light of the sun, but it also reflects something within us, the desire to reach, to reflect, to belong. And maybe the person across the world is thinking thoughts not so different from yours. Maybe they too are wondering about the future, replaying the past, asking the universe to make sense of something that doesn't fit. Maybe they are remembering someone they lost, or dreaming of someone they've yet to meet. Maybe they feel stuck, or free, or afraid, or hopeful. The details vary, the emotions do not. We are different, but we are the same. Our minds travel similar paths, and sometimes the moon is the only witness. It's not always easy to believe in connection. Life has a way of isolating us. We become busy, distracted, entangled in the details of surviving and striving. We forget to look up. We forget that the sky is a window shared by every soul that breathes. But every once in a while the moon rises full and bright, and we are reminded. It catches our attention. It interrupts our thoughts. It says gently, "Look, be still. You are not the only one here." That reminder can be powerful. It can pull us out of the echo chamber of our minds. It can help us see ourselves as part of something larger, something older than our lifetimes. The moon has watched humanity grow. It has watched fires become cities, prayers become philosophies, questions become science. It has been present through all of history's rise and fall. It has looked down on triumph and tragedy alike, and through it all, it has offered its light without judgment, without pause. And in that moment, when you and someone else gaze at the same moon, you are participating in a quiet form of unity. You are not speaking, you are not reaching, but you are sharing. The moon becomes a common mirror. It reflects your separate lives back to you, not to compare or compete, but to affirm. You are both here, you are both alive, and you are both trying to understand. Even if that person never knows you exist, the connection is real. Because connection does not always require awareness. It does not need introduction. It is enough that you both carry within you the capacity for awe, that you both felt the need to pause, that you both allowed your mind to drift upward and outward. In that shared gesture lies a shared humanity. Perhaps they are older than you, perhaps they are younger, perhaps they live in a place of noise and chaos, or one of silence and solitude. But for a moment, the moon makes no distinction. It creates a shared stage and invites all who look to stand beneath its light and remember that they are not alone. What would happen if we remembered this more often? If we allowed the sky to remind us of each other, not just of stars and orbits, but of hearts and thoughts and lives unfolding in parallel? What kind of world would we shape if we remembered that every person we pass is living under the same moon, carrying their own sorrows, hopes, and quiet questions? The moon, in its soft persistence, asks us to consider this, not with force, but with presence. And when clouds hide it, we know it is still there, just like the person on the other side of the world, just like the countless others who have looked up before us. The moon is constant. Its phases shift, but its presence endures, waxing, waning, disappearing, returning. Much like us, much like the flow of life itself. So, tonight, or the next time you find yourself looking up, take a breath. Let your thoughts settle into the stillness of that glowing shape. Know that somewhere, unseen and unknown to you, someone else is doing the same. Maybe they are smiling, maybe they are crying, maybe they are simply wondering, but they are there. And so are you. Let that be enough. Let it be a quiet thread that weaves through the tapestry of human life, a silver line drawn across oceans and continents, connecting souls through the simple act of noticing. You may never meet, you may never speak, but for a moment you shared the moon, and that means something.